We are moments away from kickoff on one of the most eagerly anticipated matchups this entire bowl season. But before we start things out, we check in with the third and fourth members of our broadcast crew. First, Laura Oakman on the field.
Thank you, Matt. I'm standing here with Coach Jim Tressel, very anxious coach. This is your 43rd postseason game you have coached. That includes 9 national championships on all college levels. This week you said you have never been more excited about a game than this one. What makes right now so special?
These 28 seniors have been special. They've been unselfish. We're playing against one of the great programs in the nation. Mac Brown has got a special program. Doesn't get any better than this.
No, all right, Coach.
Thanks,
good
Lori.
luck tonight. Now for the other side of the story, let's go to the other side of the field. Chris Myers.
Thanks, Laura. With Mac Brown ready to kick off, you know, Ohio State played the BCS title game the last 2 years. Many feel you could be in that game this year. Is there an emotional edge?
When Texas is playing Ohio State, Chris, they better both be jacked, and I think they are tonight. What a great environment for this game.
Given the circumstances, do you feel like you need to do more than just win the game?
No, when you're playing Ohio State, you better worry about winning first.
Well, have fun tonight. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, 38 days since they last played. They're anxious and ready to go, Matt.
But Chris, it's a sold-out crowd that is cut just about right down the middle. A lot of folks in orange making noise, a lot of folks in Buckeye red just as loud as Justin Tucker starts things out tonight. Lamar Thomas takes the opening kick for the Buckeyes. He's across the 25 and met head on at the 27-yard line. And that's where the true freshman quarterback Terrell Pryor will start his first ever bowl experience. The Big Ten Freshman of the Year, who took over midseason and proceeded to lead the Buckeyes to an 8-1 record as a starter.
But he got better too, Matt, as the season went down towards the end. And I think one thing they're excited about is that he's had about a month to work on himself, to work on his fundamentals. Terrell Pryor, remember when he was installed in the 4th game of the season, it was about getting ready for the opponent. I think he's used the last month of the season to get his game right. And they're starting with a little different formation with Beckman at quarterback.
And we've got Terrell Pryor split wide at the top of your screen. It's Todd Beckman taking snaps. He began the season as the starting quarterback, and his first pass of the game is complete for a first down to Brian Robisky. Well, Jim Tressel promised to shake things up today. We didn't think it was going to come on the first snap of the evening. You know, we list Pryor as your starting signal caller, but we see otherwise now. It's a very young center, the true freshman Mike Brewster, but now all bets are off.
Well, I tried to get him to give up the other day in our meetings, Terrell Pryor, where he would be lining up in that formation. We almost had him, but now we know when they run it, he's going to split out wide. At least he did that time.
Here is Pryor now with Beatty Wells at the back of the eye. They hand it off to the power back, and he is stopped after a gain of maybe a yard, with Roy Miller among those leading the charge for the Longhorns defensively. Texas, number 2 against the run in the country, the best sack attack in the nation. It's a very young secondary, however. A couple of freshmen at safety, including a true freshman, Blake Gideon, on the strong side.
And that's where you think you worry about Texas a little bit, with those 2 young safeties right down the middle facing a real NFL prospect running back in Chris Beanie Wells, who brings a load when he's running the football.
Yeah, they credit Wells with 1 yard on that first carry of the evening. Here's Pryor out of the shotgun. He's got Wells in the flat. Instead, he tries to go over to Robisky, and the throw was offline, covered by Shockey Brown, and there is a penalty marker on the field.
I think Arakpo got held by Alex Boone
holding
out on the edge.
75 on the offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
And here it is. Watch to the right of your screen. There's Brian Arakpo. This is going to be a matchup to watch all day long. Alex Boone, a good left tackle. Arakpo just gets up the field, dips that shoulder, gets to the half of the man, ready to accelerate to the quarterback, and there's no doubt that Alex Boone held him and prevented him from getting to the QB.
Brian Arakpo, the Nagurski winner this year, as the nation's top defensive player, won the Lombardi Award as the top lineman. He won the Hendricks Award, and he leads the defense for Mac Brown. Brings up a 2nd and 9 after the penalty. Pryor making things happen with his feet, and there he goes. Right past McElroy and out of bounds at the first down marker. Well, the Longhorns defensive coordinator, Will Muschamp, told us that once he breaks out, he's gone. We have to contain Terrell Pryor.
Well, and you watch, he did step out, I think, before the first down, too, Matt, which surprises me. But watch the left side of the defense and Henry Melton as he rushes. See, you got to stay balanced in your rush lanes. He just runs by the quarterback. He escapes outside the back door, does Terrell Pryor. Then it's a foot race with Roderick McElroy. And there's the young QB just not knowing where he was on the football field. He didn't realize he'd pick up another 3 or 4 yards. He picks up a first down.
Number 28 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And Dennis Hennigan flags the Buckeyes for an illegal substitution now.
And how big is that penalty now? Instead of it being 1st and 10, you're going to have 3rd and about 7. Just because the young QB did not realize where he was, Terrell Pryor, and stepped out of bounds before he got to the first down mark.
You know, Chris Myers brought up a great point, Tim, that it's been quite some time because the Big Ten schedule ends so early. It's been some time since the Buckeyes have last been on the field in game speed like they are tonight. And some of that rust is shown early. It's Todd Beckman on the field now to take the snap on 3rd and 7. Again, Pryor split wide. Beckman has single man coverage with Robisky, who can't hang on. Oh, they had the matchup they wanted, but Texas survives.
It's exactly the matchup that they wanted. It was an isolation route on the backside to the boundary, and Beckman throws a perfect ball. Brian Robisky just can't hang on to it. That hit him right in the hands as Shockey Brown was trying to get up on him, and and that's what happened. As Shockey Brown came from behind and wrapped him up, he got his right elbow, which pulled Robisky's arm into his body, which did not allow him to capture the football.
Senior punter A.J. Trapasso is on to kick it away for the Buckeyes. They came after him and just missed the block. Jordan Shipley is the deep man. It takes a decidedly Buckeye bounce and trickles out of bounds at the Longhorns 11. Colt McCoy and the Texas offense when we come back. Quarterback Colt McCoy playing in front of a sold-out crowd that includes mom and dad. Brad and Deborah are here, among the many wearing burnt orange here tonight.
They should be proud of him. We had so much fun talking to him the other day, didn't we? I mean, not only does what you see on tape is great stuff with this young quarterback, but what a great guy to sit and talk to. What a competitor as you try to get into his head a little bit.
Everything is advertised on and off the field. He's ready to go to work. And they start with a handoff. It's Chris Ogbonnaya, the senior tailback. Ogbonnaya kicked it away out of bounds, but he advances it 9 yards for Texas offensively. As we meet the rest of the Longhorns offensive unit, you've seen Chris Ogbonnaya, the 2 playmakers on the outside, Quan Cosby and Jordan Shipley, who tonight have a chance to become the first pair of Longhorn teammates to go over 1,000 receiving yards each in the same season. This is an electrifying Texas attack. Out of the shotgun on 2nd and 1, here's Shipley. His first reception of the game is good for no gain as Laurinaitis and Coleman combine on the stop for the Buckeyes. We look at the Ohio State defense, Tim, and this is how they're going to start the game, though we were talking earlier, you think this is going to change early and often.
Well, I think when you talk about Texas and their spread attack, Ohio State on defense is going to have a lot of their nickel and dime guys out there. And what ends up being, instead of a 4-3 defense, a 3-3-5 with 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 guys in the secondary to defend the pass.
Texas has been outstanding this year on 3rd down. Only one school in the country better, but they failed to convert here as the swing pass to Ogbonnaya is incomplete. Marcus Freeman had him covered for the Buckeyes, and it's a rare 3 and out that starts the night for Texas.
That's the matchup you have to talk about. I mean, you mentioned in the open how good Ohio State is in pass defense versus how good Texas is in throwing the football. Ohio State defensively this year, Matt, has only given up 10 touchdowns through the air. Of course, Colt McCoy has thrown 32 for Texas all by himself.
Justin Tucker is on to punt it away to Ray Small for the Buckeyes, and a rugby-style punt. Bounces past Small and takes a Texas spin out of bounds at the 23. Terrell Pryor back to work under center for the Buckeyes when we come back. Well, each team has had one offensive possession here this evening, and Ohio State was able to convert a first down, a rare 3 and out by the Longhorns. Now, Jim Tressel threw everybody a little curveball to start the proceedings when he had Todd Beckman taking that first snap and Terrell Pryor split wide. It is Pryor who begins this drive, 1st and 10 Ohio State from the Buckeyes 24. They repossession the tight end Jake Ballard. Pryor loses his footing. He gets the pass off, and it's complete to Robisky. That's the 3rd time they've targeted Robisky tonight. He's already got a couple of receptions. That one good for 16 yards.
Let me show you what they're going to do to try to get Terrell Pryor freed up and out on the edges. They're going to motion over with Jake Ballard, as you see right there. And he pinned the defensive end, which then allowed the quarterback Terrell Pryor to get out of the pocket. Robisky just ran an out route, a little comeback route right into the middle part of the zone there out on the edge. And Terrell Pryor was able to find it. But you'll see a lot of clever ways that they try to keep that quarterback from getting hit by that attacking defensive line today.
They run the play fake. Pryor keeps, gets out of harm's way, and fires for the sideline. DeVere Posey makes the reception. Just shy of the first down, a gain of 8. The true freshman out of Cincinnati finds the ball.
Coming on a crossing route right here. You got Terrell Pryor, who's buying time, and in the last second throws that ball up and finds DeVere Posey on the sideline.
2nd and a yard. Pryor hands it to Beanie Wells, who can't get the yard needed to convert. Well, the Nissan Z factor in today's game, Tim, is Terrell Pryor. The Big Ten Freshman of the Year, who has already played well in the first couple of series from scrimmage. The Nissan Z factor brought to you by the all-new Nissan 370Z with the world's first Synchro Rev Match manual transmission. For more information on the Nissan Z factor, log on to foxsports.com, keyword Fiesta. You got both of the quarterbacks on the field here on 3rd and short. Does Beanie Wells have enough on this occasion? Well, that was Beckman keeping. And they've got that ball measured exactly at midfield, and they're going to call for a measurement here. First down, Buckeyes. You know, we do it because it was a part of that package, Tim. But Terrell Pryor is more than the Z factor tonight. He's the X and the Y factor in terms of Ohio State's chances to foul up Will Muschamp's Texas defense. He considers himself a pass-first quarterback, but there's little doubt that what he can do with his feet make him awfully tough to defend. He hands it off to Beanie Wells, who breaks into the secondary, dragging the freshman safety Earl Thomas for a first down and more. A 22-yard gain.
That's what I was talking about early with Beanie Wells, was he's going to get on those safeties, and he's going to be hard to bring down. They catch him in a slant. Watch Melton go down that way. Beanie's going to get right up in the hole. And then you see the natural crease right there with the offensive lineman coming around. He shakes down the first safety, Blake Gideon, and then carries Earl Thomas for about another 8 yards. Those are those two young safeties that are going to have to make plays down the middle of the field on the big running back, Chris Wells.
Beanie Wells, despite missing 3 games with foot and hamstring injuries, over 1,000 yards this year. Beckman under center, Pryor in the flat rather, and that one's almost picked off by Rashad Bobineau.
This is what Brian Arakpo does. It's all based on his get off the defensive end, and he's the guy that put heat on Beckman that time. Here he comes. Look at the get off. I mean, he is 2 steps into his pass rush before Alex Boone even gets off the football, forced Beckman to throw it, and then Beckman, he just unloads this football right here. He's about to get hit and forces that thing to take a nosedive. You saw the receiver on the crossing route behind the linebackers. That was all Brian Arakpo right there, who Matt had 10.5 sacks in 9.5 games this year. He got hurt against Texas Tech and missed a few games.
Beanie Wells hurdles over the first wave of tacklers and is finally stopped by Roderick Muckleroy. A gain of 3 for Beanie Wells. Roderick Muckleroy, the Longhorns' leading tackler by a lot. The next closest total is 43 away. Some think he's one of the better linebackers, perhaps the best since Derek Johnson played in Austin.
Well, when you put on the tape, he is their playmaker in the run game for sure. He's got a great ability to understand what's going on in front of him, and as he said, he hasn't seen a true power, a true lead all year long in the Big 12. He's going to see a lot of it today from Ohio State.
Beanie Wells has already rushed for 26 yards. Some 7 minutes into the night. Pryor feels the heat. Here comes Sergio Kindle, and he gets to the quarterback. Right behind Brian Arakpo's sack total, you'll find Sergio Kindle. That was his 10th of the season. Coach Muschamp, as always, pumped up tonight.
Well, his defenders love him too. Watch Sergio Kindle, number 2, as he's going to get off the ball. He takes an inside rush on Brian Brown. He's fighting with him. Now here's his ability to finish. You know, you look at Terrell Pryor, and he's so calm back there because he's got so much ability. Well, he was matched in ability that time by Sergio Kindle, who was able to walk him down and get a sack.
Texas.
Before a 50-yard field goal attempt, a timeout on the field. Ohio State trying to score first. Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. And back inside, Mack Brown spends a timeout prior to what will be a 50-yard field goal attempt by Aaron Petrie. Jim Tressel employs 2 field goal kickers, and Petrie is the long guy. He has hit from as far away as 54, and he's only had 5 attempts this year. He has hit all 5 of them. So a long one to try to put the Buckeyes on the scoreboard first. Aaron Petrie had enough to hit from 56 or 57. Underway in Phoenix. 3-0 Buckeyes. Well, Jim Tressel watched a 9-play drive that resulted in what was officially a 51-yard field goal. That puts the Buckeyes on the scoreboard first tonight. And Aaron Petrie, fresh off the 51-yard boot, is set to kick it away for the Buckeyes. Jordan Shipley and Quan Cosby deep for Texas. This will be Cosby. And Cosby gets it to the 20 before he hits a wall and is pushed backward. So again, rough starting field position for Colt McCoy and the Longhorns. The all-time winningest college football programs. Boy, this list used to read Michigan, Notre Dame 1 and 2 for years until Texas passed the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame number 3 on the all-time list, followed by Nebraska, and then these Ohio State Buckeyes. 2 of the winningest active coaches in college football, and Tim, 2 of the winningest programs in the history of college football.
No question. Outstanding programs and classy coaches that no doubt get it right. The success speaks for itself.
With Obanai in the backfield, McCoy hits the quick pass out to Cosby, who dinks a defender and has the Longhorns first down of the game.
You'll see Colt McCoy, look at this read and take it all day long. If they're going to play off coverage like they do right here on Quan Cosby, he's just going to go out and run a hitch route. 5 yards, they're going to get it to him, and then he's ridiculously good in the return game. And that's what he becomes. He really becomes a returner when he gets the ball in his hands in open space.
James Kirkendall after that quick pass on the reception. And Texas will indeed change their pace quite a bit.
Well, they're going to up tempo. They're a spread attack, and now they're going to go with a fast tempo, which is going to put a lot of pressure on this defense. Get those guys tired trying to run and hit and keep up with the football.
Handed off to Obanaya. There's not much there around the right side as Nader Abdallah, the 5th-year senior tackle, leads the charge for the Buckeyes.
And he's a guy that's really come on this year. Nader Abdallah, the defensive tackle, really had that underachiever role up until this year, and I guess just made his mind up going into his final season that he was going to light it up. And he's been a steady force on the inside for Ohio State, both versus the run and getting some pressure on the passer.
3rd and 4. Empty backfield for McCoy as the Longhorns spread it out here. Over the middle for a first down. Brandon Collins, the sophomore wideout, has the first down, the second of the drive for Texas.
This is what Ohio State's going to do, is they're going to blitz Colt McCoy, and they're going to blitz from his left here. They just send more than the offense can block. They send 3 against 2. They attack a 2-man protection. That's one thing, one area where Colt McCoy is very, very good at picking it up and finding the open receiver.
McCoy running the option. He just pitches it rather to Obanaya, who gains a couple of yards before being hit by the strong safety, Kurt Coleman. Approaching 5 minutes in this first quarter of play at the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and it's Ohio State on the scoreboard on a 51-yard field goal moments ago.
I got to tell you again how difficult it is for the defensive line to stay up with this tempo right now that Texas is deploying. A lot of runs out to the sides, the quick throws, getting those defenders turning and running, trying to get some gas out of their tank.
Again, the empty backfield with McCoy. Looking over the middle for his roommate and favorite target, Jordan Shipley. Laurinaitis on the coverage, a gain of 6. The kind of chemistry that McCoy and Shipley have developed isn't by coincidence. Not only are they roommates, but in a story that's been told often this season, Tim, their dads were roommates and teammates together as well.
I asked Colt, I said, how long have you known Jordan? He goes, ever since I can remember. And they've been running mates since they were little kids.
Big 3rd and short here for the Longhorns. McCoy again looking for Shipley, who makes the catch short of the first down as Kurt Coleman wraps him up immediately.
You watch Ohio State throughout the course of the year, and when offenses get 3rd and 3 to the 3rd and 5 range, they're going to man cover you. And they're going to put their defenders on your weapons. They're going to put them in tight coverage, and they're going to make the quarterback throw a good ball. And that time there was just nobody open, and Kurt Coleman got very physical on Jordan Shipley, really pushing him back behind the line of scrimmage. Colt McCoy did complete the pass, Matty, but for no gain.
Justin Tucker is on to punt it away to Ray Small. This one's going to check up and bounce all the way into the Buckeyes end zone. 1st and 10 Ohio State when we come back.
The all-new Nissan Z. It's here.
Gotta love the Texas Longhorns marching band uniform. As Beanie Wells carries right past the line, he stiff arms Shockey Brown and has another Ohio State first down.
That's the lead run I was talking about, and when you get runs like this, it's not only just your offensive line and your fullback, which is great, but watch the block by Brian Robisky right there. I mean, there's the block that you look for that sealed the edge on Blake Gideon. Beanie Wells gets out cooking out to the perimeter and gets a nice big gain, but really it was Brian Robisky that came down and sealed it up. It cleared a lot of real estate for Wells to take off and go.
It's the second time Beanie Wells has taken off for a 20-plus yard run today. This is Wells between the tackles. No gain on this attempt. Henry Melton leading the charge for Texas.
And you mentioned the long runs. That's where they wanted to be good, Texas defensively today. And talking to Mac Brown, the head coach, the other day, I said, what bothers you the most? Where do you need to be successful against Ohio State? And Mac said, we cannot give Beanie Wells long runs. We've got to limit him to the 3, 4, and 5-yard runs and not let him get out and have the big pops. He's already had a couple in the first quarter of this game tonight.
You know, from the other standpoint, Will Muschamp and the Texas defense wanted to make a statement against the run here today, feeling like they're defense overall has been disrespected in the offense-happy Big 12, and that one's incomplete. Off a couple of fingertips. Ray Small had a chance at it, as did the tight end Rory Nickel. These terrific overhead shots tonight are brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to get DirecTV. Third and 9 for the Buckeyes.
This is where Terrell Pryor does not want to be in these down and distances, because here's where the pass rush has really got a chance to get to him.
Boom Herron joins Beanie Wells in the backfield. Pryor steps up in the pocket. He gets away from the first line of pursuit and gets past the freshman Earl Thomas. Terrell Pryor making things happen with his feet. Did he go out of bounds before the first down marker?
Well, he went out of bounds again, where I know he had more room to run the football. Here you get a great sense of his mobility. Here comes the blitz. Blake Gideon coming from the safety position right there. Roy Miller misses him. Another defender misses him. Now he's just going to shake guys. He had 4 or 5 more yards he could have picked up for his offense.
A gain of 12 and a first down for the Buckeyes. They have nearly tripled up Texas in total offense in this first quarter. Beanie Wells crashes ahead to the 40 before being stopped by the middle linebacker Jared Norton. But this is exactly how Jim Tressel wanted this script to read. Pound the rock, play defense. Beanie Wells has already gashed the Texas defense a couple of times.
Well, and they've dominated time of possession in this first quarter. They're really playing keep away. That's how you beat and stay with a high potent offense, is you just keep the ball away from them. Play the ball control game, move the ball on the ground. They've been able to do that.
Second and 10 now. Pryor out of the shotgun. That one's juggled out of bounds, incomplete. Intended for Ray Small, as we check in on the field with Chris Myers.
Bad tip on the Texas sideline before the game. Defensive coordinator Will Muschamp said that in practicing, getting ready for Pryor, he reminded some of the defensive players of a younger Vince Young, of course, of Texas fame. He said he does have some spy situations called for the mobility of Pryor, but after the last series, he was on his defensive players about staying in their lanes so that Pryor wouldn't have room to run around.
Well, Chris, thanks. Defending the run has really been Will Muschamp's big challenge here. In fact, OSU has run for 75 yards. That is more than the average per game against the Longhorns defense. Pryor stepping up in the pocket. And not enough for the first down this time, as a combination of Dion Beasley and Jared Norton bring him down shy of the marker.
And you can see why when you watch Terrell Pryor, that he had 500+ yards rushing this year, and really not getting out there as a starter until the 4th game of the season. And he just shook down Jared Norton right there, able to pick up an extra 4 or 5 yards when it looked like Norton had him right in the hole.
So on 4th and 2, once again the Buckeyes will bring their field goal unit out onto the field. This will be from 51 yards away once again, the distance that Petrie hit from just a bit ago. Not enough this time. Looked like some confusion on the field on both sides of the football on that field goal attempt.
Looked like when the snap got back to the holder, it wasn't a clean placement. You saw there, yeah, the ball got sideways, actually went to the ground before the holder could get it back up and place it properly for the kick. And that's why I think Petrie pulled that thing out to the left.
So the missed field goal from 51 yards out means the Longhorns will begin in their best field position to start a drive here so far today. It's Obaniah with McCoy on 1st and 10. McCoy runs the play fake, looking for Kirkendall, and a first down. James Kirkendall, the sophomore wideout from Round Rock, Texas, has his second reception of the night, a 13-yard gain.
Well, just got the corner, Chimney Chekwa, to spin his hips. Kirkendall plays a lot now. You'll see a lot of Kirkendall. You'll see a lot of Malcolm Williams, guys, that Brandon Collins, guys that come in and play as part of that 3 and 4 wide receiver package.
This is likely to be our last play of this opening quarter. McCoy with the quick pass out. Cosby, who burns 2 defenders and has another Texas first down. Chimdechekwa finally brings him down at the 38. A 15-yard gain.
Just a quick bubble screen, and again, I think any way they can get the ball in space to their playmakers, they're going to do it. Colt McCoy right there to Quan Cosby, gets 1 block from Jordan Shipley, and as I said earlier, he just becomes a return man immediately.
And in the hurry-up offense, McCoy finds Kirkendall prior to the clock winding down on this first quarter in
That is the
Glendale.
end of the first quarter.
Our score after a quarter, Buckeyes 3, Longhorns 0. We'll return right after this. 3-0 Ohio State as we start the second quarter. Boy, I don't even think the folks in Columbus had this one 3-0 after 1 quarter of play. A surprisingly low-scoring opening quarter. The short yardage back, Cody Johnson, the redshirt freshman, checks in with McCoy on 2nd and a yard. Johnson has it across the 30, and on a second effort, looks like he has the Longhorns first down.
You got to think Jim Tressel feels good about his football team so far when you talk about keeping this Texas offense out of the end zone for the first quarter of play. And I think that was the challenge coming in, and I think with a lot of people that were watching this game is really how would Ohio State do defensively, and they didn't play real explosive offenses down the stretch. How would they hold up against a high-octane offense? So far, so good for Jim Tressel's defense.
Fresh set of downs for the Longhorns. Here comes Ross Holman as McCoy gets out of trouble then and has it thrown incomplete. Cody Johnson, the intended receiver, not a guy that catches a lot of passes out of the backfield for Texas. Back to the Ohio State defense, Tim. None of the Buckeye fans are surprised in the way they've held up. This is a defense that allowed only 16 touchdowns in 12 games this season. Rob Rose is checked in. Guys like Laurinaitis and Jenkins, who are likely first-round picks in a number of months.
And only 10 of those touchdowns through the air.
They have been particularly stingy early in games as they work tonight. McCoy on 2nd and 10 out of the gun, and that one's incomplete. Brandon Collins felt the heat coming down on him in the form of Donald Washington and company.
Anytime they run these little bubble screens or missile screens out on the edge, whatever you want to call them, if a linebacker sees it and sniffs it out, he's got to go get it. And that's exactly what James Laurinaitis did that time. You'll see him right there. I mean, he sees it, and as he sees it starts to develop, he just took the back door on those offensive linemen, got underneath, and really gave it no chance.
James Laurinaitis, a 2-time consensus All-American, won the Lott Trophy this year as college football's Impact Player of the Year. And a 3rd and long now for Texas. Play clock ticking down. McCoy just gets the snap off. Here comes the pass rush. And it's complete for a first down with Quan Cosby and plenty of running room. Down inside the 10. A 19-yard gain.
But Quan Cosby just running away from man coverage. Here comes the blitz. Coleman actually gets off and gets ready to lay a hit on Colt McCoy right here, but McCoy finds the open man in man coverage. Malcolm Jenkins, I don't know if he got picked or rubbed, but certainly lost ground on Quan Cosby, who picks up a big-time first down.
Only one man has caught more passes in the history of UT football, and that's Roy Williams. 201 receptions now for Quan Cosby. 1st and goal. With Obanaya in the backfield, they like to throw to him. He helps McCoy in the form of a block, and down goes Colt McCoy. Doug Worthington, the junior defensive tackle, leading the charge.
They sprint out to the right. You'll see Texas do a lot of this. They'll slide the whole line to the right. The quarterback will run to the right. But watch this guy here. There's the guy, Hayward, who hems him up. Worthington comes underneath, but because Cameron Hayward was coming from the outside, McCoy had nowhere to reverse field and escape to, and Worthington comes up with the sack.
A 9-yard loss. It brings up a 2nd and goal. Bear in mind that Texas has been deadly in the red zone this year. This is Obanaya. A gain of maybe 2 as he's inside the 20. 50 touchdowns, Tim, in the Longhorns' 64 trips into the red zone this year.
They've been unbelievable. And you look at Colt McCoy's numbers into the red zone, and 19 touchdowns to 1 interception for Colt McCoy when he's down in the red zone, in the money zone, trying to get points. Whoa.
What does Mac Brown and Greg Davis cook up here on 3rd down? McCoy over the middle for a short gainer. Rarely do the Longhorns throw to their tight ends, but Peter Ullman, the 5th-year senior out of Austin, makes the reception. That's just his 7th career grab. It's an 8-yard gain that'll bring out the field goal unit for Texas.
And that was just getting your kicker closer. McCoy had nobody open down the field. Just a good job. They were in man-free coverage, which is they had everybody manned up with a free guy on the back end, and he just had to go to his check down to the middle of the field, the tight end, to get his kicker closer for a field goal opportunity.
This will be from 27 yards away. Lawrence is 9 of 11 on the year. And the Longhorns, with 11:45 left in the half, have tied it at 3. Aerial coverage tonight is brought to you by Bud Light. Well, we promised a high-flying offense as a part of the aerial coverage tonight, no pun intended. And so far, it has been defense and an Ohio State ground game that's been the story of this first half. A 3-3 score with 11:45 left here in the second quarter. Justin Tucker is set to kick it away. Boom Herron and Lamar Thomas are the deep men for the Buckeyes. Thomas from the 7. He gets by 1 tackler, but is dropped at the 20-yard line. The University at Buffalo is a finalist for the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year. It's up to you, the fans, to help decide if the Bulls will win this year's award and the general scholarship contribution from Pontiac. Vote now at Pontiac.com/NCAA to help determine the winner of the Pontiac Game-Changing Performance of the Year. Announced at the FedEx BCS Championship game on Fox, January 8th.
Don't you love when the Hail Mary works?
I love when the Hail Mary works and the play-by-play guy blows it out. It's 1st and 10 from the 21. Pryor hands it to Beanie Wells, who's had a big half. He slips through and into the secondary and has a Buckeye first down.
Ohio State is dominant right now at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they are getting movement across the board. Watch Alex Boone and Benny Pearson to your left. Just wash guys down the line of scrimmage. And you get one good kick-out block there by the backside offensive guard. Then again, it's Chris Wells up on those young safeties. He took Blake Gideon about 4 yards backwards once Gideon came up and made contact with him.
Wells is averaging 5.5 yards a carry this year. Tonight, he's averaging just under 8 yards a carry. They give it right back to him on 1st and 10. Patiently waiting to gain 4 more before Arakpo and Thomas make the stop. You know, when you talked about this matchup and in the pregame hype leading up to this great matchup this week, a lot of the negative conversation around the Buckeyes was about, hey, they've got a freshman quarterback. Their wideouts haven't caught the amount of passes they caught last year. They don't have a receiver in the top 95 in catches nationally. They do have Beanie Wells, however.
Well, they've done it with a power run game and with defense and a quarterback that makes plays with his legs.
Here comes McElroy. Pryor floats it off to Beanie Wells, who has room after the catch. Forced out of bounds at the 44. Another big Beanie gainer, a pickup of 20 yards.
He is having a good performance tonight. Beanie Wells finished the season with 3 straight 100-yard games. Remember, he didn't play the first 3 games, got hurt in the opener, missed the USC game, and since he's gotten back and has gotten healthy, he has clearly found his groove, and it's 9 games has over 1,000 yards on the season.
83 all-purpose yards with just under 10 minutes left in the half. He gets a blow as Boom Herron carries. Herron stopped by Rashad Bobineau after a 2-yard gain.
And I think Texas was almost felt disrespected during the last several weeks about people talking about their inability in run defense. And they say, wait a minute, we're ranked number 2 in the country in run defense. And I think with people linking that up, they're just thinking that, you know what, they don't run the football a lot in the Big 12. It is a pass-happy league. There's spread offenses all over the place. And I don't think there's any doubt when you watch Texas defensively, they haven't faced a running game like Ohio State has brought to the table tonight all year.
No major college saw fewer rushing plays than the Texas defense this year. This is Pryor. And he crashes out of bounds at the 39. We check in on the field with Laura Oakman.
You guys are talking about all the criticism Ohio State has gotten, and it's even more broad than that in terms of these seniors, 28 seniors. All they've said is they have taken so much abuse the last couple of years, really this month, about how much they haven't done in big games. The last 3 times we've seen them on the national stage, they've choked. That's the perception. They have said that this week they got their minds right. They are looser than they've ever been for any big game. They said, watch the difference how we come out, and we're seeing that.
Lauren, thanks. Beanie Wells off the field on 3rd and 4 as Dan Herron checks in. Pryor looks his way and fires for a first down. DeVere Posey's 2nd reception of the night.
Man coverage, you got Curtis Brown on DeVere Posey. Here he is here. He's just going to run an in route. And right there, as Curtis Brown tries to get back into the play and make his break on the football, he slips. Well-placed football by Terrell Pryor, where the receiver Posey could get it and still have the ability to turn and pick up the first down based on where the defender was.
The true freshman directing the 7th play of the drive now for Ohio State. And movement at the line of scrimmage.
64 on the offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jim Cordell was the starting center last year. He's a guy guilty of the yips here that'll bring up a 1st and 15 now. The Buckeyes have made some mistakes. They shot themselves in the foot early in the game. That's their 3rd penalty of the half. This could very easily be a different story here with 7:40 left before intermission. The pitch back to Beanie Wells. Cuts right through the line. Wells inside the 20. The Texas defense has no answer for the 237-pound downhill runner.
And Roderick McElroy, he just does not spill this. And when you say spill it, he's got to get up there and force it to the outside. Watch as he takes on the tight end. He just gets lost. And instead of getting up and keeping his inside shoulder free, McElroy, and forcing that thing to bounce to his help, he gets caught up with the blocker. Beanie Wells sees it and just creases him straight downhill.
On 1st and 10, Wells comes off in favor of Boom Herron. Herron got the majority of the carries when Wells missed the 3 games during the season. He might pick up a yard here. This has been the Beanie Wells Show, Tim. 4 plays of 20 or more yards already today.
We talked about it in the open, that he had to be a playmaker in this football game to help out his young quarterback, to help keep his defense off the field against that high-powered attack that Texas has brought all year long offensively, and it's gone according to plan for Ohio State in their run game. They've controlled this football game here in the first half.
Dane Sonson, blocker, the wideout in motion. Pryor looks his way. Here comes the pass rush. Pryor with wide open spaces in front of him. Still going as he's out of bounds at the 5. They mark him out at the 7 after a 7-yard gain on a broken play.
Well, this is what he can do and what he's done all year, and why you called him a Z factor with his legs. Watch the pressure come right up here from Roy Miller. He wants a screen there. It's covered. So now he just takes off and runs, and he never panics. I think that's what you have to like, and he can break tackles out in the open field. But Terrell Pryor never panics when he's back there because he's so talented physically. He knows that his physical skills can get him out of most of the trouble.
The 9th play of the drive coming up, and a timeout taken.
Timeout, Ohio
The
State.
Buckeyes spend a timeout. Ohio State on the move. At the Battle of the Bands competition on Friday at the Scottsdale waterfront. The winner in the Battle of the Bands, Night Ranger. A 72-yard drive is what the Buckeyes are in the midst of. If it's a Battle of the Band uniforms, then Texas wins, because those folks all look like they just got through loading the family into a log ride at Wally World. Love them. Flags aren't down.
False start.
It's going to hurt.
70 offense.
Boy, once
5-yard penalty.
Hey, you're
down.
very third manageable at 3rd and 2. Bryant Browning, the right tackle, just flinches a little bit. Texas picked up on it, as did the officials. Move him back 5.
Bryant Browning, the sophomore from Cleveland, guilty of the penalty. And that's a flinch that's pretty easy to pick up. Both of the quarterbacks are on the field now. Todd Beckman under center. Pryor wide at the bottom of your screen. Beckman over the middle. Great pass defense by the only returning member of the Longhorns secondary, the veteran Ryan Palmer.
Good pass defense behind the blitz, because they're going to send pressure at Beckman, and it's going to come right from his left. As he looks out to his left, he knows here comes the pressure, and he unloads it man coverage, and Ryan Palmer is just all over Hartline right there. He had no chance. This terrific pass defense coming over the top and getting the bat down.
The 29-year-old South African-born kicker Ryan Pretorius is on for a 30-yard attempt. And Pretorius is up and good. Everything on field goals so far in Glendale. But it's really a good news, bad news situation for Ohio State. They've racked up almost 200 yards in total offense here with 5:39 left in the half. However, they've got a total of 6 points to show for their efforts so far.
Well, that's an area Texas defensively has been very good all year. When they've got their backs against the wall down in the red zone, they've held opponents to more field goals than touchdowns all season.
Aaron Petrie will kick it away. Shipley and Cosby are deep for the Longhorns. Jordan Shipley, one of 4 players in FBS to take a kick and a punt back for a touchdown. No such success here. We'll be back right after this. 30 Pacific in high def, only on Fox. And as you can see clearly, the Ohio State medical staff not taking any chances with Sean Lane.
Well, and that's the right thing to do, obviously. Anytime you're dealing with head, neck, or back, or something vital like that, you're going to keep the guy on the ground. Now, some good news that we did see is after the initial hit, he actually popped up, got to his feet, and his players helping him out, and then went back down to the ground.
This, of course, something that transcends competition, as both the Longhorns and Buckeyes are watching as concerned onlookers. Let's check in on the field with Laura Oakman.
Well, you guys have been talking about the senior class, how close this group is, these Buckeyes, and boy, you sure can see it. Sean is the best special teams player, one of the leaders of this team, a senior. You can see everybody pouring out, nobody by the benches coming over and praying and just huddling up, not saying a word, really concerned about him. One of the good guys on this team.
They're one of 28 in this senior class, Laura. And again, with a win, this Ohio State Buckeye senior class of 2009 becomes the winningest in school history. But right now their concerns are elsewhere with their teammate Sean Lane. James Laurinaitis is talking to Sean, and boy, we're all kind of optimistically waiting for a thumbs up from him. And we'll of course stay on top of that situation, and with Chris and Laura on the sidelines, there's the thumbs up. There you go. So some good news, Tim, after a big hit.
Well, and he did everything right. That's what's, it's just a hazard of the game, because he came in there and as he hit Jordan Shipley, his head's up, he gets it to the side, everything looked good until contact was made. I mean, so many times when you see a guy get injured and taken off like that, he'll hit with his head down and he'll get caught in an awkward position. All of that looked right for Sean Lane.
So now the Longhorns ready to begin the drive after the delay. 1st and 10 from the Texas 25. Chris Obanaya split wide at the bottom of your screen. McCoy over the middle, and the pass is batted down. Nader Abdallah, the only senior up front, has really shown up here in the Fiesta Bowl, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl in Phoenix.
And if you're a big defensive tackle and you don't get great push, and here's 93 here, and you can't get up and get in the crease, you just play the quarterback, read the quarterback, and get your hands up. You can't get off the line of scrimmage and really affect that quarterback with a pass rush. The best thing to do is to stay right there, read the eyes of the cube, get your hands up and get a bat down. Nice work.
Here comes Laurinaitis on the outside. McCoy gets the pass away, and it's incomplete. Saw Laurinaitis coming and might have flashed back to a day a couple of years ago when he threw his first career interception to the Buckeyes, number 33.
And Laurinaitis, here he is here. He's their best blitzer. And I think Jim Heacock does a good job of identifying who your best blitzers are and dialing those guys up to be your finishers. And that time, Laurinaitis coming off the edge forced McCoy to really get rid of it before he wanted to, which caused the erratic throw to Obanaya.
Back-to-back incomplete passes by McCoy have been rare this year. Again, empty backfield. Obanaya split wide at the bottom of your screen. McCoy over the middle for a first down. Favorite target and roommate Jordan Shipley.
This is how you draw it up offensively. Shipley coming out of the slot. He's going to be here. He's just going to run a crossing route. He's going to get behind the linebackers and in front of the safety, Kurt Coleman. You see how Colt McCoy just slid it right in between the two backers there. Right in the hole for the receiver Shipley. He's made those kind of plays all year for Texas.
Again, the Longhorns spread the field. Over the middle once again. This time for Quan Cosby, and another Longhorns first down. A 22-yard gain. When the Longhorns stay in hurry-up mode. 1st and 10 from the Ohio State 40.
That was the same play they just ran, but to the other side, and this time to Quan Cosby. Identify the zone, Colt McCoy, and throw the crossing route right behind it.
McCoy now 13 of 18, 129 passing yards. Fozzie Whitaker has checked in for Obanaya. He split wide at the bottom of your screen. And whistles before the snap. Going to have a false start on the Longhorns.
False start, 11 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
James Kirkendall, the wideout, got a little jumpy. Your Tostitos game summary tonight. The Buckeyes have out-yardaged and out-time of possessioned the Longhorns, something that really hasn't happened very often. In fact, the Longhorns lost the time of possession battle only 3 times during the season. Been a big dose of Beanie Wells from the Buckeyes. He's run for over 90 yards in the half. That one complete over the middle to Brandon Collins. Kurt Coleman on the stop.
And that's what I think makes Colt McCoy so good, is identifying what a defense is trying to do and then knowing where his hot route is or his open receiver against him. That time he looked out to his left, saw Laurinaitis was going to come. They had a vertical route going that was going to hold the safety and then ran the slant underneath it with a nice completion.
So they get 4 of the penalty yards back. It's 2nd and 11 now from the Buckeyes 41. McCoy has worked with the empty backfield for much of this half. complete, looking for Kirkendall. And we check in on the field with Chris Myers.
Matt, he's been called a gym rat of football, and during the frustrating portions of the first half, Colt McCoy working his headset almost like an iPod. Now, his father is here in the stands, hoping his son can put a drive together with the family. Drove 13 hours from Graham, Texas to be here for this game. Legend goes, when he was 8 years old, his father, a coach in Texas, young Colt McCoy tugged his dad, said it'd be a good time for a screenplay. His father called the play, it got a first down. That's what his dad said. I knew this kid had a head for the game.
Chris, thanks. And if it ain't true, it's great stuff anyway. The pass complete out to Brandon Collins. They'll be short of the first down as Chimdechekwa had the coverage for the Buckeyes, a gain of 4.
That's just outstanding defense. Making McCoy throw it quick and then rallying up with your defenders. He's going to have to unload a short pass. When they're an empty, you simply just send more than they can block. The quarterback's going to have to throw it quick up in front of the defenders. They rallied up and made the tackle. One thing I'm real surprised about, we haven't seen Colt McCoy take off and run with the football today at all. Not once has he taken off and made a play with his legs, which he's been very, very good at doing all year.
Boy, and on 4th and 7, the Longhorns keep McCoy in the offense on the field. Texas is 10 of 12 in 4th down conversion attempts this year. And before they try it, they want to think about it. We remind you to stay with us at halftime. Coming up on the Southwest Airlines halftime show, Chris, Eddie, Barry, and Jimmy. You'll have first half analysis and a preview of the FedEx National Championship game. That's the Southwest Airlines halftime show coming up as soon as we go to 0 here in the second quarter. A shockingly low scoring start to what many folks expected would be a shootout here in the desert.
Are you as surprised as I am that Colt McCoy hasn't made plays with his legs?
I am, especially when you consider there's about a half dozen plays they have in that are designed runs for McCoy, who is the leading rusher on the Longhorns this year.
It's not like Ohio State is just sending 2 and dropping 8 and keeping everybody in front of him to limit his runs. They've tried to dial up the heat, get some pressure on him. There's been some running lanes for him to take off. He just hasn't taken them.
Texas has 1 timeout left with 2:32 left in the half. 4th and 7. They keep Obaniah back there with McCoy, but here comes the pass rush, and down goes McCoy. Thaddeus Gibson and James Laurinaitis came in untouched.
Again, attacking protection. He comes inside, he goes outside. There's no way Charlie Tanner could block Thaddeus Gibson right there. He takes the inside move, runs right by the offensive guard, and then just takes down Colt McCoy for a big-time sack.
The Buckeyes take over on downs at their own 48. And if the folks back in Austin are thinking about what happened in the first half of that Texas Tech game, that was the only other time all year that the Longhorns went into the locker room without a touchdown in the first half. Some jumpiness before the play.
Offside, 99 defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
The senior Roy Miller guilty of the offsides violation. These great overhead shots are brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to get DirecTV. 1st and 5 now for the Buckeyes. Beanie Wells at the back of the eye. And Beanie is close to the first down marker on 1st and 5, a pickup of 3. Wells averaging 8.5 yards a carry, 94 yards here in the half.
Really surprised that Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, because the running game has been so successful for Ohio State, has not inserted that 8th defender into the box to help stop the run. Look at that in terms of the rushing yards. That's ridiculous in terms of the contrast. He's kept his safeties back deep and tried to get his front 7 to stop the run, and it hasn't worked.
On short yardage, the pitch back to Beanie Wells has the first down. Jared Norton making the tackle for Texas. Buckeyes have 2 timeouts left. Clock ticking at under a minute 40.
You got Beckman back in the game now.
And Terrell Pryor still on the field as Beanie Wells comes off on 1st and 10. And you can see it. They're going to split Pryor out wide to the top of your screen. Beckman's 3rd attempt of the game, a long one right down center field. Earl Thomas had pretty good coverage there as they looked for Brian Robisky. Jim Tressel trying to hit the home run ball here before half. Again, a reminder coming up on the Southwest Airlines halftime show. Chris, Eddie, Barry, and Jimmy have first half analysis. And, of course, a preview of the FedEx National Championship game on Thursday from Miami. Wells is off the field here on 2nd and 10. And Pryor spikes it, throwing it away as he felt Henry Melton coming in hard. Melton, the converted tailback.
He's a pretty good story, and he's got an uncle, Ray Crockett, that played in the National Football League for a long time. And Ray, I guess, has been telling people for a while that dude's a defensive end. Get him out of the offensive backfield and get him on the line of scrimmage rushing the passer. And he's had pretty good success. Now, he gets a lot of one-on-one opportunities because he's got Brian Arakpo opposite of him, who really commands most of the protection. But early in his career, Henry Melton at Texas actually had 10 touchdowns in one season when he started here with the Longhorns as a running back.
Maurice Wells checks into the backfield with the fullback Brandon Smith. Buckeyes 3 of 7 on 3rd down. The pass rush is coming and the pass is incomplete. Blake Gideon, their true freshman safety and son of the coach, got to Terrell Pryor there on the blitz.
And really a great call by Muschamp. Watch the center. He turns to the right, so they send the pressure from the backside. They send more than you can block. Maurice Wells, there was no way with his ankle could he get in front of Blake Gideon. And then Terrell Pryor, who had a wide open Brandon Smith, just makes a bad throw because he's under the pressure.
Well, that's a big stop for the Longhorns after Ohio State took over on downs at midfield. So A.J. Trapasso was on to punt it away. And Jordan Shipley is once again deep for Texas. Shipley signals fair catch inside the 10. Well, it's a long field, 56 seconds and 1 timeout for Texas before halftime. This weekend, the NFC's top 2 seeds are back in action beginning Saturday. The Cardinals take on the Panthers. Then on Sunday, the Eagles and Giants. Coverage begins with America's #1 pregame show. Saturday at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific in high definition only on Fox.
How scary are those Philadelphia Eagles with that defense that they've got just cranked up?
Well, Minnesota gave them all they could handle the other day. About the Arizona Cardinals taking care of favored Atlanta here on this field a few days ago. Again, the Longhorns with 1 timeout. The dump off to Obanaya. And Obanaya gets it to the 15. Chris Obanaya has just made his 43rd reception, setting a
Personal
record
foul,
for running backs.
roughing the passer, number 90 on the defense, illegal contact to the helmet, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Thaddeus Gibson flagged for the blow to the helmet.
There he is there running around Ulatowski, and no question put the forearm right to the face mask of Colt McCoy, and it's the old forearm shiver right to the grill. They're calling that.
That means a net gain of 21 yards after the penalty. McCoy deep single coverage. Chris Obanaya breaks it into Buckeye territory. Back-to-back receptions for the tailback. That last one, a big one, a gain of 37 yards.
Well, and he's very versatile. He's just going to run the takeoff route right here and just go by Chimdi Chekwa. Do you see that little stutter right there? That forced Chekwa to stop his feet. Then he turned back on the jets. Did Obanaya to get a little gap of separation to come down with the catch.
Fozzie Whitaker on for Obanaya. That one complete over the middle of Quan Cosby, who breaks a tackle. And they'll mark him down right at the 1st down marker. 22 seconds remaining in the half, and this is the Texas offense that the folks in Austin have been used to watching all year.
Yeah, one big pop down the sideline, the hurry-up offense. McCoy gets right back to the line of scrimmage, diagnoses a linebacker blitz with Freeman coming, and picks the slant route right behind his back.
Again, the yellow line is unofficial. If you believe the spot, it looks like the Longhorns have enough for the first down. Indeed. Major Applewhite, the running backs coach of the Longhorns, helped directing the offensive charge led by coordinator Greg Davis. It is such a well-designed Longhorns offense.
Here's the matchup.
That's the tailback, Fozzie Whitaker, at the bottom of the screen on the linebacker, Ross Holman. The pass goes the other way to Quan Cosby. And Texas is inside the Buckeyes 20. So Cosby gets out of bounds at the 18. It brings up a 2nd and 5. Again, Texas has a timeout left. .73 yards so far on the drive. McCoy rolling left. He finds Shipley. Shipley's out of bounds at the 15. We talked about the potential that both Quan Cosby and Jordan Shipley had today in becoming the first set of Longhorns teammates to each go over 1,000 receiving yards. And that has happened here in the moments prior to halftime.
McCoy told us, Colt the other day told us that he you know, most guys only have one. He goes, I genuinely have two #1 wide receivers in Shipley and Quan Cosby.
3rd and short. For the end zone, intercepted. Anderson Russell. The junior from Atlanta stepped in front of a floater intended for Cosby, and that's where the Longhorn drive dies.
This is just a bad throw from Colt McCoy. I think he wanted Brandon Collins, but he didn't get enough air under the ball. He just floated it out there, and Russell Anderson goes and picks it off. I mean, you saw Brandon Collins was behind the defender. That's just a bad throw from the quarterback. He completely underthrew that football, which allowed the safety to undercut it.
Boy, at the start of the game, Colt McCoy had thrown 19 touchdowns and only 1 interception in the red zone this year. That 2nd pick of the season in the red zone.
That is the end of the 2nd quarter.
As we go to halftime without seeing a touchdown in the first half. 6-3 Ohio State. Stay tuned for the Southwest Airlines halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. A lot of defensive highlights, a game known for its big offensive numbers, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and we're looking at a 6-3 score, getting ready for the second half. Back alongside Tim Ryan, Matt Vasgersian, just like we figured, right? 6-3 at halftime.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you, Beanie Wells has had a terrific first half. He's 4 yards short of 100 yards, and I think it's exactly what Ohio State wanted to do. They wanted to own the line of scrimmage, and they have against Texas. And you see Beanie Wells carrying safeties down the field. He's had some very good running lanes to run through because his offensive line and his tight ends have provided some big holes and some nice creases for him. So if I'm Texas defensively, I do a couple of things if I'm Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator. I'm going to think long and hard about inserting an extra safety up into the box to at least have 8 defenders in the box to help defend that run, especially when there's a fullback on the field. And then they've got to figure out some type of way, whether it be Sergio Kendall or one of their athletes on defense, to spy Terrell Pryor, because he has made some big plays with his legs in the first half of the football game.
Pryor has kept things going offensively as we're ready to kick things away. The Longhorns will receive. They won the toss and elected to defer to start the football game. frustrated Mac Brown.
Well, he should be frustrated. His team hasn't showed up in the first half of this football game. This is a club that averages 44 points a game. To walk in after 30 minutes of football with 3 on the board, that's not going to get it done.
Aaron Petrie ready to kick off the second half. Shipley drops himself. Tripwire got him in the end zone. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Longhorns as we check in on the field with Laura Oakman.
Thank you, Matt. I want to start with some good news. The status of Sean Lane, who we saw carted off the field in the first half. He has been taken to the hospital, but strictly as a precautionary measure. He is moving both arms, both legs. He was never unconscious. That's good news. I also talked to Jim Tressel, who said, we have to fight like crazy. He gathered his guys in the tunnel, and he said, we have 30 minutes. We need to play like we have never played before. It is going to come down to the last play. Matt?
Well, a lot closer, certainly, and a lot lower scoring than any of the experts had this one through a half. Laura, thanks. 1st and 10 for the Longhorns as the second half is underway. Fozzie Whitaker's the back with McCoy. He takes the handoff across the 20 and gains a couple before being stopped. Let's check in down on the field with Chris Myers.
Matt, there's a lot of hollering coming out of the Texas locker room, and it wasn't celebrating at halftime. Mac Brown said he wasn't surprised by the score. Defensively, they've got to stop Pryor from making plays with his legs. Offensively, they've had some run plays called for Colt McCoy, but the Ohio State defense has taken it away, that option. We expect to see more of that. Mac says we have to run the ball inside and keep the ball longer, sustain some drives. He told Colt after the interception, don't worry about that. You've made a lot of throws that have been successful for us all year long. Keep firing.
Chris, thanks. The second down pass incomplete, brings up a 3rd and 8.
I'll tell you what they've done defensively, Ohio State, on Colt McCoy to not allow him to get those runs. Is they've done a good job of spying him with secondary contained linebackers, whether it be Marcus Freeman or James Laurinaitis. They've always had a guy in his face when he rolls outside of the pocket.
Longhorns 3 of 8 on 3rd down in the first half. They convert on their first chance here in the second half. James Kirkendall has put together a big evening. A 9-yard gain and a 1st down for the Longhorns. Longhorns playing in their 2-minute offense. Obaniah with his biggest gainer of the game. Down right at the marker, just short of a 1st down, a pickup of 9.
And not a bad idea to try to run the football. You know, Obaniah is over 5 yards to carry. You look at their backfield, and even though they've got 4 or 5 guys that run the ball, they've had success in the first half. They didn't even commit or try to run the football.
Fozzie Whitaker stumbles for the 1st down, but there's a flag down at the line of scrimmage. There's also a Longhorn down as center Chris Hall is slow to get to his feet.
Holding, 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Might have been why he was slow to get to his feet. You're built for a tough first half stats. Boy, that rushing number really tells the story.
That's the story of the game right there. And then really this one, the interception by Anderson Russell down in the red zone, where Colt McCoy has been great all year long. He's had 1 touchdown down, or 1 interception, excuse me, in the red zone all year. Threw one in the first half. Just a bad throw, and Anderson Russell went and picked it.
That pick effectively ended the half and a 75-yard drive. Obaniah swings out of the backfield, but the pass is over the middle, deflected. Almost grabbed on a second effort by Quan Cosby. It was intended for Peter Ullman.
Colt McCoy is just really not in a groove in this football game, because this is really an elementary pass for him, one that he can make easy all day long with his eyes closed. He just fires that one with some heat and a little high. Now one that Ullman probably should have caught. That's a dangerous pass up high on a guy that's not used to catching the football when you think about the defenders behind him on the tip drill.
McCoy 21 of 30 for Kirkendall, incomplete. Chimde Chekwa had the coverage, and they're throwing the markers on him. This is going to be a 1st down.
Yeah, I think Chimde Chekwa.
Oh, they're getting Kirkendall.
I think he called it wrong. I think they're going to take it against Chimde Chekwa.
Pass interference, number 5 defense. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Indeed, 1st down Longhorns.
Chekwa's got him in man coverage, James Kirkendall, and I think he prohibits Kirkendall from getting his left arm up to catch the ball. You see him grab his left hand right there, slowed him down, and that's a good call by the official. The ball was in the air. He had full contact on Kirkendall and did not allow him to get his arm up and get to the football.
Shoemaker carries up the middle. There is nothing happening there as Thaddeus Gibson plugs the hole. Have you noticed, Tim, and certainly this was something that we looked at the start of the game, the Longhorns have not tested Malcolm Jenkins at all. McCoy has not thrown in that direction at all this evening.
Well, he's the boundary corner, Malcolm Jenkins, and he's the best corner on the football field. The guy's going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. You know, he's going to be the guy most of the time backside on Quan Cosby into the boundary playing man coverage. There's the matchup right there.
2nd and 13. McCoy escapes. McCoy still going, and down near the first down marker. He'll be a few yards short before being stopped by Donald Washington. You know, Terrell Pryor's not the only quarterback in this matchup that can run the football. And Washington is down on the play.
Here's the replay. There's Laurinaitis, who's covering the tight end on the little stick route. As the tight end kicks back out, he just basically runs interference on Laurinaitis. Does a good job, really, screening off 2 guys. Laurinaitis, then Donald Washington, to buy Colt McCoy some extra yards.
Well, the Buckeyes' depth at cornerback has really been challenged. Again, Sean Lane was escorted off on a stretcher. And as Laura reported, he's okay, but being taken off as a precautionary measure. And it looks like the same can be said of Donald Washington. We'll be right back. Well, it's been a 7-play drive assisted by a pass interference call. 3rd and a yard on the Buckeyes 46 for Colt McCoy and the Longhorns. The short yardage specialist Cody Johnson, the Redford shirt freshman, is checked in. Johnson carries. He drags Laurinaitis with him, but he'll be short of the first down.
They are all over this running game today. Ohio State on defense. This is going to be a run blitz. Watch the left side of your screen. Laurinaitis is going to come right down inside, knife his body up under Charlie Tanner, the offensive guard, and hit that little gut play before it could even get started. They have done a nice job defensively. Anytime Texas has tried to run the football for the most part, and they haven't tried a lot, with the exception of one play, Ohio State defensively have been all over it.
James Laurinaitis, one of the most highly decorated linebackers in the rich linebacking history of the Ohio State Buckeyes, as the fake on 4th and short might fall just short. We'll see where they mark it. The Longhorns are acting as though they've got the first down.
Yeah, I think he does have it. It's right on the 45-yard line, and looks like the first down stick is right there on the 45-yard line too. I think this is going to be a first down for Texas.
First down, Longhorns.
Just a direct snap right to the up back, right there. Pretty good surge by the offensive line in front of him. Does a nice job by just finding a little crease. Rashad Bobineau right there. He looks off to the right and then back to the left. Just enough right at the first down stick.
So a fake on 4th and 1, a pass interference call, a little bit of everything has contributed into this drive for Texas. A fresh set of downs on the Buckeye 45. McCoy over the middle for Obanaya, down at the 39 as Laurinaitis makes the stop.
They've gotten all over Colt McCoy. When he does the traditional drop back, even out of shotgun, the defensive tackles for Ohio State have gotten some pretty good push up inside. They had 2 sacks in the first half. And that time, Hayward and Worthington both creased up inside in the A gap in between the guard and the center, and the B gap between the guard and the tackle, and both had good pressure that time on McCoy again.
Obanaya carries, a gain of a few. Marcus Freeman makes the tackle for the Buckeyes. The 12th play of the drive coming up. The Longhorns have mixed up their tempo on the drive. Hurry up, no huddle. Quick pass out to Shipley is read immediately by Chimde Chekwa. And Shipley will be short of the first down.
That is such a good job by Chimde Chekwa out there in zone coverage. You're going to see him. He's covering Kirkendall here. As Kirkendall releases, he reads the quick little out route, peels right off of the outside guy Kirkendall, and comes up and makes a tackle about a yard in front of the first down mark on Shipley. That's really nice work by the corner, Chimde Chekwa.
Well, Mac Brown and Greg Davis aren't going to bother any fake punts here. They're just going to go for it on 4th and 1. Big Roy Miller, the defensive end, is in at fullback. He leads the charge, and Johnson has the first down. Let's check in with Laura Oakman.
Matt, Donald Washington has not been in since that injury, but I can tell you, I'm not a doctor. I'm about to play one on TV. He did go to the training table. All the trainers walked up to him. He shooed them all away, didn't let them touch a single body part. He has not gone on the field since that injury, but he's been on the sideline the whole time with his helmet on, looking like he's about to get in.
All right, good news, Lauren. Thanks. 1st and 10. Been a 6-minute drive for Texas. The play fake, and McCoy finds Obanaya over the middle. There's a flag down in the backfield as McCoy took a late hit. This might be the second time they flagged Thaddeus Gibson.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 90 on the defense, illegal contact to the head, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, great move to get by Ulatowski, but then here he is here. He's going to work it, come back inside, throw the tackle by, and then bam, there's the hit. Put the crown of his helmet right on the ear hole. Bam, right there. I don't know, actually got him up under the shoulder pad.
Jim Tressel is furious. You can hear the Buckeye fans here in the stadium as they react to the replay here on the video screens. It's going to put the ball inside the 15. 1st and 10 for the Longhorns at the Buckeyes' 14-yard line.
I think that was a legitimate hit, but one that was hard for the referee to call from his vantage point, because I'm sure from his vantage point it looked like a helmet-to-helmet shot on Colt McCoy, but in fact it wasn't.
Longhorns into the red zone for the 3rd time tonight. This is McCoy doing it himself. Touchdown, Texas! Colt McCoy did a nifty dance step to get around Malcolm Jenkins and scores his 100th career touchdown. Mr. and Mrs. McCoy can finally break out a smile.
And that was one of those called runs for Colt McCoy, and really picked up some good blocks along the way that helped spring him for the touchdown.
Hunter Lawrence finishes off a long touchdown drive. There's a flag down in the PAT.
Holding, 56 on the kicking team, 10-yard penalty, replay the try.
Going to have to kick it again to try to make this a 10-6 game.
Here's the touchdown, and watch the first block he gets from his running back. Obanaya, number 3, he's there. He's going to come block Marcus Freeman as he leads up in the hole. Bam, right there, just enough to give Colt McCoy the edge. Now watch Quan Cosby on Anderson Russell right there that sprung McCoy as he was able to spin back and get into the end zone.
Texas has its first lead of the game as Hunter Lawrence makes it a 4-point advantage. After the penalty, the point after is good. A 15-play, 80-yard drive makes it 10-6 Texas. Longest drive of the season by the Texas Longhorns. 15 plays, over 6 minutes of clock. And as is customary, Colt McCoy gets right on the headset with his offensive coordinator, Greg Davis, to talk about the 80-yard TD drive.
Well, and that's what we were looking for in the first half. And of course, the drive was continued with a really, I thought, a bad call on Thaddeus Gibson on a late hit, helmet-to-helmet on the quarterback. Clearly, to me, it wasn't. But what we wanted to see out of Colt McCoy, and I think what the Texas fans wanted to see, was the guy making plays with his legs. And on that drive, not only the touchdown, but there was another play earlier in the drive where he picked up some big yardage by break and contain, picking up a first down by running.
Ohio State will get a chance to touch the football for the first time in the second half. Lamar Thomas will bring it back to the 30. Chippy this after the play. Let's go back to that penalty on the touchdown.
And again, in all fairness to Dennis Hennigan, he's over here as his vantage point. This is going to look like it's helmet to helmet, but in fact it's not. As Thaddeus Gibson puts his helmet, it's right under the shoulder pad right there. And so that was a tough call, and then it led to this. A little called quarterback draw, 2 good blocks. Chris Obanaya, Quan Cosby, both laying down good blocks to free up the QB on the touchdown run.
Pryor handing to Wells. That was a successful combination in the first half. Beanie Wells had 100 yards for the game. Well, Thaddeus Gibson's been flagged twice. And then that very next play, Colt McCoy breaks it for the touchdown run. By the way, only the 7th rushing touchdown allowed by the Buckeyes defense this year. Second and 6 for Pryor and the Buckeyes. Wells again. And he's across the 35, stopped by McElroy after a gain of 2.
I'll tell you, there has not been a lot through the air for Ohio State. It's been Beanie Wells, as we said at halftime, and Terrell Pryor running the football. Pryor right now in this game, he's only attempted 10 passes. He's completed 4 of them for 50 yards.
Buckeyes are 3 of 8 on 3rd down so far. And that one is dropped, intended for Robisky. So it's a 3 and out. In the first possession of the half for Ohio State, their first of the game. Our Taco Bell impact players today. Chris Wells, Beanie had rushed for over 100 after that last drive. And Colt McCoy with 220 yards through the air. He did throw the pick prior to halftime intermission. Shipley signals fair catch at the 18. 6:58 left in the 3rd quarter. Longhorns 10, Buckeyes 6. Aerial coverage brought to you by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And the difference here on the field has been a Colt McCoy rushing touchdown. 10-6 Texas, middle of the 3rd quarter, and the Longhorns go to work from inside their own 20. A quick pass out to Quan Cosby, who again gets around Chimde Chekwa. Cosby nearing 100 receiving yards.
I think Mac Brown is hoping his team has found an edge. I know coming into this game, as he told us, he was worried about his team not having an edge. He said usually the team that wants to be here more and wants to be here the most wins the most. He was worried about his football team against Ohio State, just with the dynamics of both of them being in this game. That maybe Ohio State wanted to be here more and would have more of an edge. I think his team is starting to find their edge here in the second half.
Texas offense starting to function on its customary high level. A 17-yard pickup to Jordan Shipley. Back-to-back first down passes. Play fake with Obanaya. And that one caught for another first down. Quan Cosby's second reception of the drive, as he goes over 100 receiving yards this evening.
Well, and if they're going to blitz, and they do here, you'll see Laurinaitis, you'll see Jermail Hines. He's going to come off the edge over here. That means man coverage out on the perimeter. And Chimde Chekwa giving a big push into Quan Cosby. He's going to chew that up all day, and Colt McCoy's going to find him if Ohio State does not get home when they dial up the pressure.
McCoy overthrows James Kirkendall, so his first miss of the drive. McCoy now 27 of 37 in the air. It's the first time they went the direction of Malcolm Jenkins today. You know, Colt McCoy started play tonight with a completion percentage and accuracy percentage, if you will, of 77%. And unless he goes, 27 for 100 tonight, that will end as the best ever season for accuracy in college football. Backpedaling, he gets rid of it just in time to avoid what would have been a loss of 20 yards. Big Rob Rose penetrated. Nathan Williams, the freshman, was there, and we've got a flag.
It's going to be intentional
Intentional
grounding.
grounding. Number 12 offense. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. Third down.
It took a little while for that flag to fly in, but McCoy guilty of the grounding penalty.
Yeah, and it's Rob Rose from this side, Nathan Williams from this side. There's the tackle box right there. He's right on the edge. Does the ball get back to the line of scrimmage? I don't think it did. That's a good call with intentional grounding, but the pressure coming right off the edges, the wide rushers, yeah, that didn't even get close to the line of scrimmage with Nathan Williams and Rob Rose.
So the Buckeyes defense hoping that shifts momentum. Play clock ticking down on 3rd and very long. They'll just try to get it out of trouble with Ogbonnaya, but he ends up losing more yardage as the freshman Nathan Williams gets around the edge again.
Well, I don't know about this run, what they were trying to do to Worthington, but he doesn't even get blocked. He's on the inside. Nathan Williams is on the outside, and Ogbonnaya has nowhere to go with the football. Tried running that gut play to the weak side and only had one blocker over there for 2 guys.
So the end of that drive, one that looked like it was in pretty good shape, loses 26 yards in 2 plays. And Ray Small fields a line drive punt. Small looking for a corner. Now he changes direction and settles in at the 47-yard line. A 13-yard return has the Buckeyes in good shape to start the drive. I'd imagine that guy's a legend back in Columbus. If not in his own mind, then someplace. Terrell Pryor begins this drive for the Buckeyes in the best starting field position that either team has enjoyed so far. Maurice Wells in the backfield with him. As that pass is dropped, Dane Sonsenbacher couldn't hang on as we check in with Chris Myers.
And the 2 freshman safety for Texas, Earl Thomas and Blake Gideon, playing well tonight. Remember, the country saw those title-altering moments against Texas Tech. Gideon missing an interception opportunity towards the end. Eric Crabtree, a missed grab on him by Thomas that allowed the game-winning touchdown. They said it's part of their job to forget plays like that, but what was impressive was how their teammates reacted towards them. They said it helped them grow up. Said you always know people have your back. They showed it. And tonight, they wouldn't be the players they were until that incident and experiencing that incident.
Chris thanks as Pryor keeps it, and nobody bought the fake. Henry Melton was there to jam him out of bounds. A loss of 4.
Well, and that's a read from the quarterback. He's going to stick it in the belly of Chris Wells, and if this guy stays upfield, he should hand it off. And that's exactly what he does. He does not crash down, that being Henry Melton. And Pryor decides he's going to keep it and try to run it around the corner, and Melton is right there to push him out of bounds for a tackle for loss. But that's his read. He's running that gut play. He sticks it in the belly. And if the DN crashes, he keeps it. If the DN stays upfield, he should hand it off. That time he did it wrong.
This is Beanie Wells. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage. Lamar Houston makes the stop after a 3-yard gain. And for the second time in as many second-half possessions, the Buckeyes go 3 and out. So A.J. Trapasso is on to punt. This has been part of the Buckeyes' problem in these BCS games, in big nationally televised contests against USC and the like. The offense going south after halftime. Jordan Shipley calls for the fair catch. Longhorns will take it at the 15, and we'll be right back.
Okay, so the all-new 09 F-150 is the only truck with those new steps on the tailgate and the side of the box, making it easier to get to the cargo. And you're thinking, I don't need those. Oh yeah? Let's do the math. How many times are you going to be in and out of the cargo box? Once? Twice? No. I'm thinking 50, maybe 60,000 times, especially since it's got the most payload. You see what I'm getting at? Hey, unless all you're carrying is yarn, it seems like a no-brainer to me, okay? It's not just a new truck. It's a new F-150.
Somebody get a drool rag for Bevo. Come on now. Big lunger coming out of his nose. 1st and 10 for the Longhorns. McCoy out of the shotgun. 1st down Texas. Again, it's Quan Cosby. Boy, Cosby is enjoying a fantastic night. A gain of 15.
Well, he and Colt McCoy are the #1 tandem in UT history when you talk about quarterback to wide receiver and all the hookups and all the completions from McCoy to Quan Cosby.
Cosby turned 26 in December. He's got a family. He is on a different level of maturity in his athletic career than a lot of the players on the field. This is Obadiah now, running between the tackles and crashing forward for a gain of 8 before being stopped by Kirk Coleman and Ross Holman. Second and 2 coming up for Texas. You know, Quan Cosby is a senior. He's playing in his last game as a Longhorn. He's the only one of the big-time weapons, though, that McCoy will be losing as a graduate. Jordan Shipley will be back next year as he has the 1st down, knocked out of bounds at the 45 by Coleman.
Good job of reading the blocks by Jordan Shipley. He's going to be in the inside slot, the inside guy in the slot. There's actually 2 out there, and he's going to read the block right there by Brandon Collins and then by Kirkendall. As he sees the defenders peek their head inside, try to take away the inside, he uses those blocks and just bounces it to the edge for the 1st down.
Empty backfield here on 1st and 10. Shipley again left all by himself in the middle of the field. He makes a move and trips at the 35. That's the 2nd time tonight that Jordan Shipley has tripped. This time it comes after a gain of 20.
And there was a break in coverage here for Ohio State. They took 2 defenders right here with the inside guy. See them both go there? Shipley left wide open for a big one against the defense.
And the hurry-up offense, this time it's Fozzie Whitaker taking it inside the 30-yard line. The redshirt freshman out of Houston who was slowed earlier this season with knee injuries. And the guy offensive coordinator Greg Davis calls his best all-purpose back. Flags down. Whitaker again for the 1st down if it sticks.
Well, Nathan Williams couldn't get off the field. This hurry-up offense has really stressed out Ohio State defensively. He was still in the field of play when they snapped the football. Nathan Williams was trying his best to get off before the ball got snapped, and he didn't quite
Offside,
get there.
14 on the defense. Penalty is declined. 1st down.
These great overhead shots brought to you once again by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to get DirecTV. So it has once again been a penalty-assisted drive put together by the Longhorns. First and 10 from the Buckeyes 22. McCoy doing his best. Matt Hasselbeck getting in and out of the play. He runs the option look and pitches it off. Obadiah has another Longhorns 1st down. This is the Texas offense that terrorized the Big 12 all season.
Yeah, this high tempo is a problem right now for Ohio State defensively. Those guys are breathing hard. They're running everything out on the perimeter, and you can see a lot of hands on the hips and guys dragging to get up and get ready for the next snap.
Obadiah is inside the 10 this time. So it brings up a 2nd and goal.
They're not even getting lined up. They're not even getting down in their stance. And I think they were in the neutral zone that time.
You got a flag on the field. Touchdown, Texas.
I think Thaddeus Gibson was in the neutral zone, Matt. That's going to stick.
Gibson was running across the line of scrimmage trying to get into his stance.
90 defense. Penalty is declined.
And you said it, Tim. The high tempo has given Jim Tressel And Jim Haycock and the defense of the Buckeyes, all kinds of trouble here in the second half.
Here's the penalty, Thaddeus Gibson. You see right there, he is in the neutral zone when the ball is snapped. Going to roll out to the right. Shipley's going to angle route right at the end zone at the inside, and then the other receiver comes to the outside and does a crossing route to the back of the end zone for the hookup touchdown.
2 3-and-outs for the Buckeyes. 2 long touchdown drives this half for the Longhorns.
"13 ingredients? That's more people than I invited to the party. Unless Denise brings Gary. Ugh, Gary with his short shorts. White corn, vegetable oil, and salt. Yeah, 3 ingredients is good."
Now the folks in the burnt orange starting to make a little bit more noise now. With 1:04 left here in the third quarter, Quan Cosby has enjoyed a huge Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. 10 receptions, a career high, in what is his final game in a Longhorns uniform.
Just a great job of just drawing up that play. Shipley going one way into the end zone. Cosby coming back from the other side on the crossing route. Ohio State was lost on defense.
Back long touchdown drives here in the third quarter for the Longhorns. This is Lamar Thomas to take the kick back from inside the 5. Thomas is down at the 26-yard line. Colt McCoy having a big half, and he's a candidate for the AT&T All-America Player of the Year award. To vote for Colt McCoy, text your vote to 51234 on your AT&T wireless phone, or go to foxallamerica.com. You could win a trip to next year's national championship game. Look at Graham Harrell's the only kid that wore a suit and tie for that shot. It's got to be good for a couple of votes. Inside of a minute left here in the third quarter. And now the true freshman quarterback, Terrell Pryor, down by a couple of scores. Pryor decides to keep. And he swerves down of bounds at the 32 by Roderick McElroy, a gain of 5.
And they're going to have to continue to do that, I think, with McElroy to spy him. And I think Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, knowing what Terrell Pryor was able to do to him in the first half with his legs, has taken one of his defenders and said, "You're going to spy. You're going to sit right in the hole. You're going to watch number 2, and you're going to mirror him. And whichever way he goes, you run with him to keep him from picking up a big gain with his legs."
On 2nd and 5, Pryor to throw. Here comes the pass rush, and down goes Pryor. The big senior, Roy Miller. The second time tonight that the Longhorns have gotten to Pryor.
What a great get off by Roy Miller. They turned the protection one way, and they turned away from him, and Jimmy Cordell, the left guard, just had no chance. By the time Jim Cordell got out of his stance and tried to turn on Roy Miller, Miller was already by him and accelerating to the quarterback for the sack.
We're going to the fourth quarter. At the end of 3, 17-6 Texas. Will return after this break and a word from your local Fox station. It's a 3rd and long for the Buckeyes. It'll open the fourth quarter. They've got both quarterbacks on the field. Terrell Pryor split wide at the bottom of your screen. Todd Beckman out of the shotgun. He feels the heat and throws the deep ball. Robisky lays out and makes the grab.
Great job by Beckman, not only stepping up and eluding pressure, but then just throwing a ball that's absolutely on target. There's Robisky on Curtis Brown out on the edge. Going to have the other safety now that's going to peel and try to get off of him, and then watch Robisky just lay out for that football and come down with it. That is a huge play for Ohio State, who have really been limited in the third quarter here in terms of picking up yards offensively. That was a terrific throw from Beckman.
And Beckman stays at quarterback. Pryor at the top of your screen. The pass goes in the other direction. Incomplete for Sonsenbacher. Well, the son of the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver coach doing it just like Dad taught him.
Well, and I think Brian Robisky is a lot faster than people give him credit for. You can see that he's got very sure hands right there. He's a good route runner. You know, he'll be good at the next level in pro football. He'll develop his pro body. He'll get stronger. But I think people have underestimated his speed. Every time you watch a game, he seems to run by somebody. One thing people don't know about him is he anchored the 4x100 relay team, the track team at Ohio State.
Beanie Wells carries for a gain of maybe a yard. A 48-yard reception by Robisky was a season long. And exactly the big play that Jim Tressel was hoping for to jumpstart what was a completely stagnant third quarter offense.
Well, let's give Texas up front, that front seven, some credit too. Defensively, they have not allowed any running lanes for Chris Beanie Wells, the running back for Ohio State. They have bottled him up big time throughout that whole third quarter.
Beanie Wells coming off now in favor of Maurice Wells. Another big third down here. Pryor keeps it and throws, almost intercepted. You know, Earl Thomas is pleased with himself for knocking that one away, but that's a ball that should have been picked.
Terrell Pryor makes a nifty move to get out of the way of the defenders. He could have taken off and run that for 10 yards. Instead, he tried to force it into Robisky, who was well covered and just didn't put enough air under the football. I mean, he came up about 3 yards short on that throw. That was one certainly that Earl Thomas should have picked off.
You know, credit Robisky for preventing Thomas for picking that off. He grabbed the arm and wrestled it free of the football. This will be a 43-yard attempt for Petrie. Boy, that would have been good from 53 yards away. Points for the Buckeyes. Tostitos Fiesta Bowl trophy on the line tonight, along with some significant dents in recruiting and preseason rankings, among the other things up for grabs. These are more than just exhibition games, folks. Back to a one-possession game. 17-9 Texas. A couple of third quarter Longhorn touchdowns. Field goal moments ago by the Buckeyes make it a one-possession affair. Jordan Shipley now is across the 20 and down at the 21-yard line. Well, this game was marked by its defense in the first half, Tim. A 6-3 lead for Ohio State at intermission, but a couple of long touchdown drives by the Longhorns reminded folks in Austin about how good their offense is.
Well, Colt McCoy, I think, finally came out in the second half and started making a few plays with his legs. I think Mac Brown figured his team came out flat, didn't play well. They got in at half. They kind of regrouped, and he came out and made a few big plays with his legs. Also had a couple of drives that were extended by some penalties from Ohio State. And then on the other side of the ball, Ohio State, very simply, they just had not been able to run the football in the second half of this game.
First and 10 for McCoy. Again, out of the empty backfield set, he takes off. And gains 3 on the ground. Laurinaitis makes the stop. Funny how these careers come full circle. We talked earlier about how Colt McCoy threw his first ever interception to James Laurinaitis. It was a coming out party for Laurinaitis, who enjoyed a big day. For Colt McCoy, made just his second start that afternoon. The big things were ahead. 2nd and 7 now. Here comes Laurinaitis and they pitch it out. Obanaya gets it up to the 30. He'll be a yard shy of the first down before Marcus Freeman knocks him out of bounds. Well, for more on Chris Obanaya, let's check in with Laura Oakman.
Matt, ask any Longhorn, they will all say that Chris Obanaya is the team's emotional leader, and boy, he's gone through a lot in his 22 years. Buried an older brother 6 years ago, then when Chris was 15, 6 weeks later, playing basketball with his younger brother when he collapsed from a heart defect. I'll tell you more after this play.
Shipley's across the 35 and out of bounds at the 40 for the first down.
Chris, who had no formal training in CPR, tried to save his little brother, but to no avail. Chris told me he suffered from severe depression for 3 years after that, just with the guilt. He couldn't save his brother. He said the one thing that saved him, Texas football. He said this team has been everything to him. They love him, his heart, his humor, his passion. Chris said all of that is to honor his brothers.
Lauren, thanks. And a big part of the Longhorns offense tonight and all year. That one complete over the middle to Brandon Collins. Another Texas first down.
And another great blitz pickup by Colt McCoy. Identifying the blitz was coming up in his face. Real good side adjust from Brandon Collins. Laurinaitis was coming on a blitz from the left side of the offense, right side of the defense. Brandon Collins read it. So did the quarterback. Ran a slant route for a first down. They got these guys completely off balance right now.
Fozzie Whitaker tackled just short of the first down marker. They're checking out Donald Washington, who injured himself earlier in the game.
This hurry-up offense has been a major problem in the second half. Ohio State can't even get lined up and get their hand down in the dirt up front.
And Whitaker's got the first down here.
I mean, that's a short yardage play right there. They get to the line of scrimmage, hurry up and snap it, and two of the defensive linemen were still trying to find their alignment along the front, standing straight up. Easy to pick up the first down, short yardage that way.
Again, the defense scrambling. McCoy runs the play fake. Gets away from Nader. Abdallah still going and really pays the price. Ball's out. Ball came out. It's Texas football as it trickled out of bounds, and McCoy is very fortunate that no Buckeye was able to bounce on it. Colt McCoy got smoked at the end of this play.
He sure did. He's going to come all the way back reverse field and then watch. Oh, yeah, it was Hayward right there who hit him, and then McCoy trying to unload the ball. Worthington hits him right there, and then Malcolm Jenkins comes up and delivers the final hit on Colt McCoy, and that ball went out of bounds.
After all that, a loss made 2nd and 18 now for the Horns. Play clock's ticking. And Colt just gets it snapped. Or does he? No, the Longhorns are going to spend a timeout.
Timeout, Texas. First timeout of the half.
Their first of the half. (17-9) Texas with over 10 minutes left on the game clock. And you might have noticed during our Fox Sports coverage of the BCS Bowl Bash, those of us here at the stadiums and those in the studios wearing these pins in support of the Alzheimer's Association, part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, leading the way in Alzheimer's care, support, and research to help stop Alzheimer's and end this disease. Please go to alz.org. 2nd and 18 coming up for the Longhorns after Mac Brown spent Texas's first time out of the half. McCoy with the deep ball, single man coverage in the corner. Does he make the catch inbounds? No, Malcolm Williams is out of bounds. Well defended by Malcolm Jenkins.
Looked like Malcolm Williams actually had a step or two on Malcolm Jenkins, but it's just not a good throw. It's behind him and it's outside. Let's see if he comes down. Yeah, he looked like he was out of bounds when he came down with the catch. That's not a great throw because Malcolm Williams had Malcolm Jenkins beat on that takeoff route down the sideline.
Texas 5 of 13 on 3rd down, as you see in the top right-hand corner of your screen. A 3rd and long. 3rd and 18. McCoy scrambling. Thaddeus Gibson misses him. Colt directing traffic and finally throws it away. So on this occasion, it's the Buckeyes defense that bends without breaking.
Yeah, that's a big stop. And I'll tell you where Ohio State has had their most success at rushing the passer today is when Colt McCoy just takes a traditional 5 or 7 step drop back and where his launch point's going to be behind the line of scrimmage. Where they've had trouble and where Texas has had success, especially here in the second half, is moving the pocket, rolling Colt McCoy out by design one way or another, and letting him have the run pass option read.
The rugby-style freshman punter Justin Tucker rolls a slow baby bouncy up the middle. It'll be downed as a touchback. Buckeyes down 8 with just over 10 minutes left in the game, and they start this drive without Beanie Wells on the field. 1st and 10 from the 20. Pryor gets out of trouble and throws for Robisky. Robisky makes another wonderfully acrobatic catch for a 1st down. How did he hang on to that football? A gain of 16.
What a great play by Brian Robisky. Never giving up on it. You're going to see him here. He's going to get behind the corner. He runs the corner off, and then now it's just the scramble drill. He realizes his quarterback's in trouble. That ball was errantly thrown because Roy Miller got a hit on Terrell Pryor right when he released it. Nice job by Robisky.
They
The ruling on the Pryor play is under review.
Yeah. They are going to take a look at this upstairs. That's a catch, folks.
Looks like a catch to me.
And a doozy, Judge. Brian Robisky with 94 receiving yards in this Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver had possession of the ball. Completed pass.
Quickest review in the history of college football. 1st down Buckeyes. You know, Brian Robisky's receiving numbers in 2008, less than half of what they were last year because it's an entirely different offense this season.
Well, once Terrell Pryor got in the lineup for Beckman, the 4th game of the year, really started at USC in the 3rd game. It all changed in terms of the reception opportunities for those wide receivers.
Option look, Pryor keeps it again. No Beanie Wells on the field. They didn't need him on this play call. Into Longhorn territory, 1st down Buckeyes. And speaking of no Beanie, let's check in with Laura Oakman.
You guys are definitely not the only ones wondering where he is. Every teammate keeps walking up to him as he's sitting here on the bench going, what's wrong? Are you coming in? Just talked to Ohio State's trainer. Right now he is out. He took a shot to the head, said they are watching him, they are monitoring him, and pretty much series to series making a call on if he's ready to go back in or not.
Lauren, thanks. Just 4 carries for 10 yards this half as compared to the 96-yard opening half for him. So it's Boom Herron in the backfield. Pryor runs a play fake and misfires, looking for his tight end Jake Ballard.
You can tell by watching Terrell Pryor that there's a lot of growth and development still left. I mean, he's a true freshman. He's a guy that ran a spread offense in high school and ran it as much as he threw it. So when you talk about the passing game and really becoming a legitimate throwing quarterback, they're going to take a lot of work this offseason working on his footwork, his development, his delivery, where he can really become a legitimate throwing quarterback.
Let's face it, he's less than a year removed from arriving in Columbus as the top quarterback prospect in the country as a prep student. Keeps this one and has another big gainer. Still going to 1st down and more as Pryor is out of bounds inside the 25.
Well, he's just going to make the read. The DN's going to get stuck upfield. They're going to wall off Lamar Houston, the defensive tackle. Rashad Babineau takes a bad angle, as does Earl Thomas, and that quarterback will do that to you. He is such a long strider. He doesn't look like he's moving that fast, but there's nobody gaining ground on him when he's going north and south.
76 rushing yards for Terrell Pryor. And this is Maurice Wells, who's stuck for a loss. Henry Melton on the tackle. Clock winding down to 8 minutes and counting.
I'll tell you who's been real solid this 2nd half has been Roy Miller up front for the Texas Longhorns, the defensive tackle number 99. He has done a very, very good job in the run game, holding his gap of responsibility, being a problem for that offensive line. And when the opportunity has presented itself, he's gotten some good pressure.
Todd Beckman in a quarterback now. That's Pryor wide at the top of your screen. On 2nd and 12. Beckman throws the deep ball into single man coverage, looking for Dane Sonsenbacher, and it's incomplete as we check in again with Laura.
Buckeyes, and no one is happier to be on the field right now than Todd Beckman. He told me this year has been the most difficult of his life, being a senior captain, losing his job, but you would never know it. He was and still is the leader of this team. He is a guy that every player goes to when they're upset, no matter what's going on with Todd. He told me his attitude was shaped the week he was benched and Terrell Pryor came to him for advice. He said, I didn't want to give it, but I knew I had to. He said he has learned the definition of the C on his chest. It is not about me, it is about this team.
Well, Lauren, thanks, and it's Terrell Pryor back at quarterback now. That last pass was intended for Brian Hartline. Pryor's hit as he throws, and it comes up short for Robisky with a flag on the play. Pass interference is going to be levied against the Longhorns. But Mack is furious. He's claiming that ball was uncatchable.
That ball was so short of Brian Robisky, but I think if it's short, it's catchable. I mean, if it's deep over his head and outside the white stripe, that's uncatchable. But I think short, when they're short, they're considered catchable by the official.
Pass interference, number 7 on the defense. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 13 on the defense. First down.
A pair of penalties against the Longhorns. First, this is the PI call on Dion Beasley, and then they get the other corner, Ryan Palmer, on the unsportsmanlike conduct.
Well, to me, it's not even close for Dion Beasley. He definitely prohibited Brian Robisky from getting back to the football. That's a perfect call by the official. He got that one right.
So once again, the Buckeyes will throw Todd Beckman in at quarterback. And they put Terrell Pryor wide at the top of your screen. A pair of costly penalties on the same play committed by the Longhorns. You know, it comes as an interesting side note with the Buckeyes trying to get into the end zone for the first time tonight. Their only 2 losses of the year to USC and Penn State were the only 2 times they failed to score a touchdown all season.
When are they going to throw a fade route to Terrell Pryor out there on the edge when Beckman's at quarterback?
They've had it in our minds certainly for the entire game. But there he is at the top of your screen. There's the fade route. And there's the touchdown. Nice call, Karnak. A pair of quarterbacks hooking up on a 5-yard touchdown toss. Beckman to Pryor, and now the question becomes, do the Buckeyes line up for 2? For Terrell Pryor, his first reception as a Buckeye.
I don't even think there's a question of lining up for 2. I think absolutely. And that's absolutely the right call. I mean, man coverage out there on Terrell Pryor, who's every bit of 6'6". Believe me, we talked to him the other day. He is a legitimate 6'6", has a big advantage on the corner. That was a jump ball. Beckman threw it up for grabs. Pryor came down with it for the touchdown.
You saw the note. This is the Buckeyes' first 2-point conversion attempt this year. Incomplete, intended for Robisky, and that one was well short. It's a 2-point game in the desert. Now, the All-State Sugar Bowl this year featured one of the biggest upsets in the entire bowl season. And Terrell Pryor and the Buckeyes are hoping that it wasn't the last. They have crept back to within 2 of Texas. 17-15 Longhorns with 7:26 remaining here in the 4th. Aaron Petrie is on to kick it away. Cosby and Shipley deep for Texas. Jordan Shipley from the goal line. And Shipley is tackled shy of the 20. Time for tonight's Dodge game summary. Colt McCoy with 334 total yards, 2 touchdowns. He danced for one of them. Terrell Pryor, on the other hand, with 77 rushing yards And a TD reception, his first reception as a Buckeye. First and 10 Texas from the Longhorns 19. And a quick pass is almost picked off. It was intended for Brandon Collins. Donald Washington jumped that route and almost came up with the football.
I don't think Jordan Shipley or Brandon Collins, either one of them thought it was to them. They thought it was to the other guy. McCoy threw it right in between him, and Donald Washington could have very easily come up with an interception there. There's the throw. Watch, he puts it right in between the two receivers. There was some confusion on who that ball was going to by the wideout.
McCoy settles for the short gainer to Quan Cosby, a gain of 3. That's 11 receptions, a career high for Cosby. Make it 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7. McCoy has time, dumps it incomplete for Collins.
Really good job by Ross Holman, the linebacker. Here he is, 51. Watch him pick up the crossing route. Brandon Collins, he's all over it. And then, of course, not a real good throw by Colt McCoy behind the receiver, allowed the defender to get to it. If he lays that out in front of Brandon Collins, maybe he has an opportunity to get a reception and run a little bit after the catch, but real good coverage, hunting up the crossing route by Ross Holman.
Boy, so in the possession after the scoring drive by the Buckeyes, the 5-yard TD reception. A big-time momentum shift at 3 and out. And the rugby-style punt is out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
You put your foot down and it just goes.
It's kind of saying, "Rrr."
The Hemi did it. I love it. It's awesome. Yeah! That Hemi hits hard. Bam! Boom! Truck just kicked into gear. I completely forgot I was pulling a trailer. Man, it was amazing. It was a smooth ride. Fantastic. Go, 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 go! That's how we roll.
Buckeyes begin the drive from their own 27. Pryor with the option look, slips a tackle and is taken down at the 34 by Earl Thomas. You know, as flat as the Ohio State offense looked in the 3rd quarter, Tim, that touchdown drive, they get on the board for 6. Fans in Columbus are aware of how good their scoring offense has been in the 4th quarter, outscoring opponents nearly 3-1. Second and short now. It's Boom Herron in the backfield with Pryor out of the shotgun. And he hands it to Herron, who has the first down. Chris Myers.
Number 32, Eddie Jones, one of the reserve defensive linemen of the Texans, who's part of their regular rotation, has been out this half because of an ankle injury, and it's starting to show in terms of some of the depth on the defensive line because of the quarterback combination and the running of Pryor. Looks like a lot of the Longhorn linemen are getting winded. It was something they were discussing after the last series.
Chris, thanks. The Buckeyes have rushed for nearly 200 yards here. And they're doing it against the 2nd-ranked run defense in the nation. Uh-oh. Miscommunication. Ball's out. Pryor and Herron got tangled up in the backfield, and the Buckeyes are very fortunate that Herron was able to recover.
Terrell Pryor, he just never catches it. That's what it is. I mean, he never, ever gets 2 hands on it and grasp it to turn and try to stick it in the belly of Herron, and then cannot corral it. Herron keeps his eye on it, and very fortunately pounces on it before 3 or 4 Longhorn defenders could get to it.
Todd Beckman back in at quarterback. So that splits Pryor again wide at the top of your screen. 2nd and 17. Beckman throws over the middle. It's caught by the tight end, Jake Ballard, for a first down. Jake Ballard made a fantastic shoe-top grab. Only 4 receptions all year, but he has played a role tonight.
Shallow crossing route. Roderick McElroy is trying to cover him in man coverage. And look at him reach down and fingertip that ball down around the level of his knees. What an outstanding catch by Ballard.
A 21-yard gain as the Buckeyes are into Texas territory. Again, no Beanie Wells on the field for Ohio State. It's Maurice Wells with Pryor. Out of the shotgun, dancing, looking for a crease. And he runs out of bounds.
I'm telling you, if Pryor's playing quarterback, if I'm Texas on defense, I'm playing the run almost every time. It doesn't even look like he's trying to throw the football anymore. A couple times on the last drive, he dropped back and threw it, but for the most part here down the stretch for the last 10 minutes or so when they're on offense, he's getting it, looking for an opening along the front and then just trying to exploit it and run with his legs.
2nd and 9. Beckman back in at QB. It's an empty backfield. Pryor at the bottom of your screen this time. Pass goes the other way for Rubisky, who breaks a tackle and is down the sideline, out of bounds at the 25. First down, Buckeye.
What a play by Todd Beckman. Are you kidding me? He sees a Rakpo coming unblocked off the edge and knows that he's got Brian Rubisky on an out route and delivers an absolute strike. Look at the hit. I mean, he knows he's going to get blasted and still delivers a perfect pass to Rubisky, who then runs away from the defender for a big pickup. I love the fact Todd Beckman's out there having an impact on this football game. Great spot for the senior quarterback.
This is Pryor this time, as he hands it off to Boom Herron, and Herron is down at the 15. Earl Thomas saved the touchdown by grabbing a piece of the jersey.
Well, they caught a run stunt here by Texas, trying to stunt down inside. And then Jared Norton gets picked up by the pulling guard, and then Earl Thomas is the only guy left between Boom Herron in the end zone and is able to get a touchdown-saving tackle right there. But what a huge hole created by that offensive line, just taking a slanting defense and pushing them the way they were slanting.
Third trip to the red zone for the Buckeyes. The previous 2 have resulted in a field goal and a touchdown. And again, it's Herron. Same corner, touchdown, Buckeyes! Oh, that came way too easy. A 15-yard touchdown run, and the Buckeyes go back out on top.
Caught him again with a run blitz. And they all come down inside. Look at McElroy get walled off, and then Blake Gideon in an open field on Boom Herron, not even close. Herron sticks a foot in the grass outside, cuts back to the inside, and the true freshman safety Blake Gideon couldn't make the tackle in the open field.
The red-shirt freshmen go boom. Todd Beckman at quarterback. Pryor wide at the bottom of your screen on a 2-point conversion attempt. There's that fade again for Pryor. Flag on the play. The 2-point conversion is good pending a check of the penalty marker.
Yeah, I'm not so sure this is an OPI, offensive pass interference.
Pass interference, number 2 on the offense. Pass interference, number 8 on the defense. The penalties will offset. Replay the try.
They'll do it again after offsetting pass interference calls.
Trying to work that fade route to Terrell Pryor. This time Shockey Brown on him. Contact, contact, contact. As that ball was in the air. I I think that could have either been called on both of them or not called on either one of them when you take a look at the replay.
Well, Jim Tressel wants this at a 6-point differential. A huge difference trying to prevent against a touchdown drive without a PAT beating him. Pryor keeps it, throws over the middle, and the 2-point conversion is no good. Rory Nickel could not hang on to make the catch.
That's one of the best throws all night by Terrell Pryor. I mean, he lasered that right into where only Rory Nickel could get it. Watch, they're going to roll him to the right. There's Nickel there on the crossing route. This is just a perfect throw. I mean, it couldn't be any better, and Rory Nickel just can't hang on to it.
Boy, Buckeye tight ends had not been pleased with the amount of balls thrown their way during the season. And there was a chance for Rory Nickel, but he can't hang on. So it's a 4-point lead for the Buckeyes with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Texas has 2 timeouts left.
You know that the fans at home are asking themselves, did we score if you're Ohio State too fast with 2:05 left on the clock?
Well, the BCS ramifications for a Buckeye upset here are staggering. Fans of the Utah Utes watching with keen interest. Jordan Shipley. He's taken a kick back for a touchdown this year. He's stuffed at the 21 this time. Tim, time to take a look at tonight's All-State Good Hands play of the game. You called for it. The fade route to the quarterback. That was textbook pitch and catch for a Buckeyes touchdown. Well, Texas has been backed up before. And if any quarterback is going to direct an 80-yard scoring drive, or at least one to get him into field goal position, it's Colt McCoy. As that one's caught by Cosby, who's down at the 27. Of the 78 scoring drives put together by the Longhorns offense this year, 25 of them, a third, have covered at least 80 yards. They need to get into the end zone here down by 4. And he's going to his hot receiver Cosby for the first down. Again, Texas has 2 timeouts left as we're at 1:26 in the fourth. Here comes Gibson over the middle. And it's nearly intercepted. Anderson Russell had the better position than Cosby on that ball.
Well, you couldn't throw it much better if you're Colt McCoy. It's a deep in route by Quan Cosby, but watch, it's going to come into this part of your screen back here. Watch Anderson Russell come over the top and try to get to that football. Good defense by the safety playing back deep.
McCoy gets out of the way of Laurinaitis and Worthington and gets out of bounds at the 38. 1:07 left on the game clock.
Tell you, for an offense that all year has really exploited people with the big play, the 25-yard, the 30-yard, the 40-yard play, this Ohio State defense has given very few of those big plays throughout this football game. They got to feel good about it right now with a minute to go.
They leave it back with McCoy. This will be a free play as he has it complete out to Brandon Collins. Collins is down across midfield, a 13-yard gain.
Offside, number 13 defense, penalty is declined, first down. So
the Longhorns take advantage of that free play and convert. They're into Buckeye territory right at the midfield mark, that is. Again, Mac Brown has done this come from behind routine before. Again, it's Collins who dances out of bounds at the 42. And this is where this finely tuned offense as put together by Greg Davis, Tim, is at its best. The ball comes out so quickly.
It really does. And that time, McCoy, again, diagnosing a blitz and getting rid of it. If I'm Ohio State defensively right now, I let my four-man rush get there. I keep 7 guys in coverage to try to make Colt McCoy throw the ball up in front of the defenders and then come make the tackle.
McCoy's pass is dropped again, looking for Collins. Sophomore wideout, factoring promisingly on this drive.
Because the minute, if you're Jim Heacock defensively, you send 2 extra rushers, that's going to mean man coverage on the back end, which is going to mean the opportunity for a big play over the top for Texas on offense.
3rd and 3. The Longhorns are 6 of 16 on 3rd down conversion attempts. They've been at their best tonight when they've been in their hurry-up mode. This time the Buckeyes defense has a chance to read and set. Here comes Laurinaitis on the blitz. Over the middle, almost picked off by Rob Rose. Big defensive end doesn't have the good hands. At least not on that try.
Well, a little zone blitz right here, dropping out the defensive tackle. Colt McCoy didn't even see it. There's Rob Rose right there. Watch number 9. He's just going to get back in coverage. Should have had himself an interception at point-blank range.
That's going to bring up 4th down and Fiesta Bowl. Here's your football game. The catch is made by James Kirkendall. Buckeyes think they stopped it. They're going to drag the chains out onto the field here. Absolute bedlam down there. It looked like Jim Tressel and his staff were displeased with the spot, to put it mildly. They mark it at the 40. That is right where they needed to be. First down, Texas. The Longhorns have life.
And you can see there, he was already by the 40-yard line. Yeah, forward, to me, forward progress was right there at the 40. That's a good spot by the referee.
Good job by Dennis Hennigan and his Big East crew. A posterity look at the replay confirms their spot. 38 seconds left. And now they're going to review this upstairs.
Is being challenged.
No, this is a challenge being called for by the Buckeyes. And for those unfamiliar, in the college game, each side has a challenge.
Yeah, every play is reviewed by the booth, but each coach on the sideline does have one opportunity to make his own challenge, really, for a play exactly like this. You keep it in your pocket until you need it. Just watch the first down sticks. To me, it looks like ball forward progress past the 40 right there, and then where he goes down is behind the 40.
Boy, great play by James Kirkendall to hang that football out there and try to get the spot. The sophomore making a veteran play. You mentioned how Jim Tressel kept the challenge in his pocket until the right spot. In fact, he kept it in his pocket all year. This is the first time the Buckeyes have challenged a call all season.
I think
After
it's
review,
a great spot.
the ruling on the field stands. First down.
They gave it a shot. The replay confirms the spot.
Ohio State is charged their first time out of the half.
So that'll leave the Buckeyes with 2. That's not going to matter too much. This is all about what Texas has left. They have 2 timeouts remaining. 1 fourth quarter comeback win this season. Mid-season versus Oklahoma in a wild second quarter in the Red River Shootout. This will be the 10th play of the drive. McCoy mounted a furious fourth quarter drive against Texas Tech as well, only to have his heart broken by Michael Crabtree in the waning seconds of that contest for the only Longhorns loss of the year. From the Ohio State 40, 1st and 10, 38 seconds left.
Got to find Quan Cosby.
McCoy for Collins and another first down. And Brandon Collins is slow to get to his feet. Limping back into position, under 30 seconds now. Again, the Longhorns have 2 timeouts. Over the middle, all alone, touchdown Texas! And what a way for Quan Cosby to end his Longhorns career. There are flags on the play.
What a read from Colt McCoy and his #1 receiver, Quan Cosby. I told you they had to find him. He's had the biggest game out of all the wideouts today. And he caught Ohio State with their linebackers mugged up at the line of scrimmage. Cosby sees it. McCoy sees it. He runs a slant route in front of the safety, out-leverages him, and then there's nobody to tackle him with the linebackers up close to the line of scrimmage.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. #7 on the offense. Excessive demonstration. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
All that means is that Texas leads 23-21 with 16 seconds left. And Buckeye BCS hearts perhaps about to be broken once again. The point after by Hunter Lawrence is good. And the Buckeyes are looking for a miracle. Fantastic overhead pictures are brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV.
Matt, look at the linebackers. They're all uptight. There's the route right inside of the safety, Anderson, Russell, and then there's nobody behind them. And that's exactly what I talked about earlier. Keep everybody back in shell coverage to make sure and keep it all up in front of you. And to be able to rally up and make the tackle, they took a chance there by showing blitz with the linebackers all mugged up at the line of scrimmage. They run an in route on the safety. Just an outstanding hookup from quarterback to receiver for the touchdown.
1:49, 11 plays, 79 yards for Colt McCoy. A career high now, 413 passing yards. And what a night for Quan Cosby. A career high 14 catches, 172 receiving yards. The 14 receptions ranks him very close to the top of the all-time Tostitos Fiesta Bowl receiving yardage list.
And to me, he's got to be the offensive player for the Texas football team. As good as the numbers are for Colt McCoy, and you mentioned him, over 400 yards. I mean, that's the biggest play of the season right there, that touchdown by Quan Cosby. And when they needed him most, he got himself into the end zone.
Still rocking the mullet in Austin. From the 22, Lamar Thomas. He is across the 40. 11 seconds and 2 timeouts for the Buckeyes. And what a night it's been for the graduating wideout, Quan Cosby. 14 receptions, 172 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. McCoy to Cosby, Tim, as you mentioned, is first on the all-time UT quarterback to wide receiver combination chart, and they have cemented their place in history tonight.
He had such a huge game tonight, there with the touchdown there just a minute ago. And then how about the touchdown run by Colt McCoy in the 3rd quarter? Remember the block that he delivered to spring the quarterback. Quan Cosby has been everywhere in this football game.
The Buckeyes have another couple of cracks at it. Beckman back at quarterback. Flushed down, and down he goes. Jim Tressel burns a timeout with 5 seconds and likely 1 play left tonight.
Second timeout of the half.
Brian Arakpo, the Longhorns' leading sack artist, who had 10.5 during the season, scores his first tonight. What a wild second half. Just to bring you up to speed for those that might be joining us late, 6-3 after 1 half of football. Since that time, it has been a hurried up Texas offense, a creative Ohio State offense that has led us to the 24-21 Longhorns lead here with 5 seconds left.
And what a contrast in half. Both for, you mentioned Texas and what they did in terms of exposing that firepower offensively and getting that out there against that Ohio State defense. But Chris Beanie Wells, the first half that he was able to have for Ohio State at 14 carries or 12 carries, up to 96 yards, got hurt in the second half and has not had an impact.
Hail Mary. Robisky's in the neighborhood. That falls incomplete, and the Texas Longhorns are Tostitos Fiesta Bowl champions. Well, for the 51 seniors wearing both uniforms combined here tonight, a decidedly different result. Those in the burnt orange will ride off into the Austin Sunset winners. And for the 28 Ohio State seniors moving on, guys like James Laurinaitis, a frustrating loss here in the desert. Let's go down to the field now with Laura Oakman.
Well, I just literally grabbed Quan Cosby over here, and all he said to me was that awesome or what? So I'm going to make you elaborate on that. What'd you think of this game, Quan?
Oh, man, first and foremost, I have to give glory to God, because if it wasn't from him, I wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't have had a game like this. But, man, this is this team all year, man. We had things to prove. People count us out, but we never give up, and we never quit. Colt, one of the best. Our O-line, everybody, man. Our defense, it was just a great game.
All right, I know that there are a lot of people who said that you didn't belong here, let alone on January 8th. So what do you have to say to those AP voters who are looking at you right now, Quan?
Hey, man, this has been us all year, man. Now we're the only game tonight. We played a very, very good Ohio State team, top 10 defense. And, again, we showed up again and proved everyone wrong.
All right, you want to do a hook 'em horn, anything? Last
definitely.
words,
Hook 'em horn. Hey, Mark, Texas, baby, all my family, God bless.
Congratulations, great game. Matt, Tim, back to you.
All right, Laura, thanks. When we come back from a break, Chris Rose and the guys in the studio, and we'll have more from the field here in Glendale, Arizona. The Longhorns, Tostitos Fiesta Bowl winners.